Okay, so you don't have to worry about taking detailed notes about which menu I went to, where I click, because that's getting recorded. What you should note down is if I show you something, in which context you will use it in your day-to-day work, that is something I cannot tell you, because everyone's work profile is different, data is different, documents are different. So take applied notes, don't take operational notes. Fair enough? Okay, so now coming back to how many sessions I have done in various countries. Not a 2-column boring table. I'll show you the same data in a better manner. Is that better? Do you know how to do it?
But relevance of the size of that.
That's number of people.
No, but a relative thing.
I know, never mind. Total comes to 2,30,000, so it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is I'm just showing you the distribution and proportions in one quick 6-second clip. Is it better than showing a 2-column table or not? That's the question. Of course, for details you may need that actual data as well, of course. But in this case that data doesn't really matter. The real question is, how did I do it? Using which software did I do it? Originally data was in Excel, agreed. Anyone? Guess, take a guess. Which software? I'm showing it in PowerPoint, but that was just a video which I created, which I've inserted in PowerPoint. That's okay. How did I create the video itself? Flash? No. No animation software was used. Sorry? This was done in Excel. Do you know this can be done in Excel? Now that you know it can be done in Excel, can you think of areas where you can use it to your advantage? Yes or no? So during the process of my session, I will show you how to do it in Excel. But before that, one very important thing. The issue is, I have interacted with so many people. Like this, we have 100 people here, like this, so many people. They learn from me, but while interacting with them, I also learn from them. So what did I learn about how people use Office? There is one conclusion, and you'll be surprised what the conclusion is. Fill in the blanks. One word is missing. Every action we perform using Office is, fill in the blanks. One word. The action is getting performed. The end result is achieved, no doubt about it. We don't document, we just do, right? Fill in the blanks, come on. Now does this sound like a good news or a bad news? Very bad news? Now the whole purpose of today's session is to first prove to you that this statement is correct. But even if this statement is correct, this is not the real problem. What is the real problem? The real problem is we don't know that we are inefficient. Because if you knew that there is a problem, you would have done something about it. The first step in any kind of problem solving is to understand that there is a problem, acknowledge it, and only then solution can come out. Now obviously so many intelligent people sitting here, suddenly some guy comes from nowhere and says whatever you are doing is inefficient. Are you going to take it lying down? No, you need a proof, right? So now I don't have much time. I'm going to take 6 minutes to show you proofs. Now you tell me, which product do you use most commonly? I'll just list down the products. I'm just going to make a list of products and you tell me which one you use more commonly, so we will give more focus on that product during my session. Obviously this depends on person to person, so let me take a poll to just understand the distribution in this room. Word, okay, Excel, PowerPoint, okay, OneNote, One. Now you know why Microsoft chose the brand name called OneNote? Because only one person uses it. Anyway, so let's say I want to put Excel in the first position. How will you do it? Just I have to move it up. Simple question. Nobody even asks such questions to each other because everyone assumes everyone knows the way. Still I am asking you, how will you do it? Select and copy paste or drag drop? Which one? No, sort in this case will work, but suppose second one I want word, then sort will not work. It's in random order, my desired order, so sort will not work. So copy paste or drag drop? Yeah, agreed, but everyone knows both the methods. Which one will you use? If you know two ways of doing the same thing, which one will you use? Now I am asking a general question now. If you know two ways of doing the same activity, which one will you normally choose? The better of the two. So now tell me which is better. Copy paste or drag drop? Don't tell me your preference. No, the answer is both are bad. The issue is, because we have learnt this by trial and error, nobody taught it to us. Whatever method worked for us, we assume is the only and the best method and live with it lifelong. So the correct method of doing it is like this. Any questions? Of course you have a question, but unfortunately I am not going to answer that question. My job is just to prove that you are inefficient. Now if I don't tell you the method, what will you do? Can you forget the fact that there is an eminently better third method now? So next time you are drag dropping and copy pasting, you will curse yourself for not knowing the best method. You will curse me also, but I am not going to tell you the answer anyway. So after finishing cursing many times, what will you do? You will find out the best method, the operational aspect of the best method. What I just did was created awareness. Awareness is more important than operational skill. Once you are aware of something, when the need arises, you are smart enough to use it. The problem is there is no awareness. So how is this done? It is done using some modifier keys, correct? If I just press up and down arrow, it's just going to move the cursor. If I press shift, it is going to select. So what is left? Two keys are left. Alt and control. So shift, alt and up arrow will do this. Take your cursor anywhere, shift, alt, up arrow will move it up, down will move it down. Having said that, you are very happy, but if I had not shown you this, you would not have tried to use it in Word, in spite of knowing it now. So now I will ask you to do it in Word. So I have multiple paragraphs. One of the paragraphs is red in color. I want this red paragraph to move up. What should I do now? You know the shortcut. Again? I am hearing a lot of select. Should I select or not select? Okay, how many think I should select first? No, there is no need to select. Because Word is smarter than we think it is. You just click there and shift plus shift alt up arrow down arrow. It will move automatically. Having said that, you would still not use it in this situation. How many times have you struggled with tables to move and reorder tables? In this case, I have a table which shows something, doesn't matter what the table shows me. Now I want to move this fourth row bus to the top. What will you do? If I had not explicitly mentioned it, you would still select it and do copy paste, in spite of knowing shift, alt, up arrow, down arrow. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Are you getting the concept? Now will you select or not select that row? No, no need to select. This guy is smart enough. Are you slowly getting convinced that whatever we do is inefficient? So let me show you an Excel example. One of the most common things in Excel is to put data and then put formulas. Nothing can be simpler than that. That's the basis of Excel. So let's do that. Do you know how to copy a formula? So let's say I have amount, I want to calculate tax. Tax is 3%. So simple formula called percentage of B4, 3%. Easy. Now I want to copy the formula. I want to copy the formula and then eventually I will do a sum of the entire column, so I'll know the tax payable and I'll pay that tax. Simple. Now, minor question which nobody asked anybody is how to copy the formula. Tell me. Okay, one method. Another method?
Copy and paste.
Copy and paste. Another method? If you go to this corner here, you see that the cursor changes. Where? If I go here, I know there is another option available. If I double click, it copies it automatically. Is it good or bad? Now everyone knows double click. Will anybody drag now? But if you had not attended the session, you would be happily doing this. How much do I drag? Depends on how much the data is. 10 rows of data, maybe 1 second. 20,000 rows of data, I don't know, 17 minutes I am dragging my life. Is our life worth dragging, or are we made for better things? Nobody thinks when it comes to office. That is what I am trying to tell you. Of course you want to make use of your life in a more productive way, but when it comes to office, our brain stops functioning from that point of view. Now if you are the boss and you have 15 people reporting to you and everyone is dragging every day for 20 minutes, will you fire them? You will not, because you also drag. Do you understand the problem? So obviously this is bad. So now onwards what are you going to do? No. Double click should never be done. Right now the only thing you are wasting is your life. This is okay. At least you know that you have reached the bottom. In double click you will assume that it has reached the bottom and pay this much tax and have a tax problem and land into jail for paying less tax. Why? Because we never told Excel where is my data ending. We hope that miraculously Excel will automatically find out where my data ends and intelligently copy it till then. It doesn't do that. It checks. Whenever it finds a gap, it stops there. And because double click is so miraculously nice, we never check it. In the process, you are getting wrong results. Yes, it did save time, but yielded wrong results, which is worse. Bottom line, the three methods which the entire world knows about copying formulas are inefficient. And I'm not saying this for medical community. I do this for banks, I do this for governments, I do this for heads of states, I do it for all kinds of people worldwide in all industries. Nobody knows how to copy a formula. Can you believe that? Efficiently, I mean. So what is the problem here? Excel doesn't know the end point of our data. Even we ourselves don't know at this point of time. So shouldn't we explicitly explain to Excel this is where it begins and this is where it ends, and remove the ambiguity from the whole picture? That would be nice. How do you do that? Because there are blanks in the data, there is no guaranteed shortcut. Shift Control End may work sometimes, may not work. But whatever it takes, you'll have to select it manually first time. Now onwards, I want to freeze that selection, and that is done by creating a table, insert table. I'm not in Word or PowerPoint, I'm in Excel. Excel also has a table option. How many of you use it? Look around, I know the answer. Okay? So 3% of population knows table. But that 3% of population uses table for what purpose? Because when you create a table, it formats it nicely, it looks nice, it saves you the trouble of manual formatting. That's one benefit. That's a minor aesthetic benefit. Now look carefully. What am I doing now? I have created a table. Now to show you the impact, I'm going to create empty cells right in front of you here. And I'm going to type exactly the same formula, B4 multiplied by 3%. What is the difference between before and now? The only difference is the table. And now when I press enter, Excel does the job, not me. Now I never have to check whether it has reached the bottom. But because you will not trust me right now, I am showing you. It has reached the bottom. What does that mean? All the time we were wasting in dragging, double clicking and dragging again and again is completely eliminated lifelong. Benefit? Time saving. Any other benefit? Time saving is one benefit. Another benefit is? Which one is more important? Accuracy, because time wastage we are used to when it comes to office. So that's really not a benefit as of now. Soon you will start noticing it. But accuracy is definitely something you want. Now in your experience, when you want more accuracy, don't you think you have to put extra effort to ensure accuracy? You do the total again, you call an auditor and do it, or you put a control total, do something extra. So remember, whenever you want better quality output, you have to put more effort. This is an example where we have put less effort and improved quality. What does that mean? paradoxical improvement in efficiency. Normally input and output are proportional. If you want better output, more input. Here less input, better output. That thought process is called efficiency. And the entire tool set called Office is geared up for that purpose. Are you getting the concept? So now one example in PowerPoint. Let's say I have a process which I have to show in 3 steps. Each step I am representing with a shape. So first I draw a triangle, then I draw a circle, and then I draw a square. Did you notice it is a perfect circle and a perfect square? Do you know how to draw it? We always draw hoping that it will be a circle, and visually when you feel it has become perfect, we just leave it there. Everyone knows geometrically it is nowhere near a perfect circle. Correct? Yes or no? Is anybody worried? No, because मेरा भी ऐसे दिखता है, दुनिया का भी ऐसे दिखता है. So it's taken. Now I want to show them step by step. So I go to animation, I put some animation. In this case I am just putting fade effect, and I'm going to say on click. So what will happen in the process? I got first click, step 1, second click, step 2, third click. Easy. Everyone knows that, I hope. The problem is now after having done this, I feel all of them are in blue color. The steps are different, so color should be different visually. Now I need to go to that triangle and change the color. I've already taken the trouble to overlap, align, everything is done now. What will I do now? Unless I see the triangle, unless I select it, I can't do anything to it. How will I select it? Come on, quick. This one you know. Right click, send to back, bring to front. That's one option. Second option is just move it around, remove this, then go there and then bring them back. Both of which are bad, because send to back, bring to front becomes confusing if there are more than 3 or 4 layers. You yourself forget who is in the front and who is at the back. Correct? So now when you are doing such activities, you have to stop doing it and think, which we never do. Now, who purchased whom? That is you and PowerPoint in this case. Who purchased whom?
We purchased PowerPoint.
Obviously. But right now, whatever I am doing to get that blue thing have a different color, who is helping whom? Send to back 3 times, or drag and move and then bring it back. Who is helping whom? I am helping PowerPoint. That is a benchmark of inefficiency. Whenever you get the feeling that you are helping the product rather than the product helping you, that means your method, even if it works, is bad. That also means one very useful thing. That means Microsoft must have noticed that as a problem and they must have given us a solution. It's just that we never attempted to even think that there is a solution. Because we never assumed there is a solution, we never attempted to find it. So now what am I saying? Start noticing every action you perform every day while using Office. Check who is helping whom. If it sounds like you are helping the software, stop doing it. Look at the menus and you will find an answer. So now we are trying to select the triangle. From that point of view, look at the menus. I'm sure you have gone to Home tab thousands of times in life. Have you looked at every button? Now let's define what is look. Light falls on the menu. It gets reflected. Then it goes to your retina. That is not called looking. It has to reach the brain. That is called looking. So normally we just ignore those things. So now look at them with the point of why we have come here. I have not asked you to look at those buttons to admire them. Don't get emotionally attached to them. Think, why have I come here? To somehow select that triangle. From that point of view, no, maybe yes. Like that, by simple process of common sense based elimination, you will find the answer. So tell me the answer. I am saying again, why have we come here? To select the triangle. I am saying 4th time, we have come here to select the triangle. There is a button there which is saying select. Have we noticed that? No. And then which one? No. The last one, selection pane. Now what does this guy do? It gives you a list of all the items on the slide. It's not layers, it's just object list. Now whatever is on top is in front and whatever is at the bottom is at the back. Now what are we interested in? We don't want the rectangle, we don't want the oval, so we hide them temporarily. So if I click on that eye icon, it will hide it, and then from here itself I can select the triangle, do the job, and it's done. And then I'll select the oval from there. Again, I don't have to come back, change something, and job done. Now notice that the rectangle is still hidden. If I present like this, rectangle will not be shown in the presentation. So after you finish doing it, remember to say show all, otherwise the hidden item is never seen. And now our job is done. Fair enough? Are you understanding what is inefficiency now? So are you getting convinced that what we do is inefficient? Is it good news or bad news? I can go on, I can give you the examples for 3 more months and every example you will get convinced, but I don't have enough time. So, what is the conclusion? Is it good news or bad news? Because the inefficiency unnoticed is really bad news, but inefficiency noticed is the best news you have ever heard. Because if every activity can be improved beyond your imagination, suddenly you have so much time in hand and you can utilize that time to your advantage. Are you understanding the concept? Everyone wants to grow in life, but to grow in life you have to do more than what is required for sustaining your job. But most of the time is going in sustaining the job. Even if you have talent, even if you want to grow, extra effort is required. You may have the opportunity, you may have the resources, you may have the talent, but if you don't have time, that growth is not going to get converted into reality. It will only remain a dream. So to grow, there is shortage of one commodity which is called time, which you cannot purchase. So what do? Give up? No. We look at every activity which we are doing on a daily basis, extract that time which was wasted in inefficiency, and that is your reward. You reinvest it into growth related activities. That's how Office helps you grow. Understand? Step 1, save time. Step 2, utilize it intelligently. Fair enough? Alright. So with that in mind, now tell me what should I cover first? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, what? Okay, when I did a poll, Word was at the top. So probably I will start with Word. Fair enough. Okay. So in Word, there are primarily 2 kinds of activities we do. We somehow type or get the content from somewhere. That's section number 1. And the second activity we usually do is what? Formatting. Agreed? So two types of actions. Type the content and fine. Which one takes more time? And who should actually be doing formatting? You or Word? So this is where we waste our life. So let me show you how never to spend any time in formatting. Now question, do you know what is called as styles in Word? Okay, 3% of population, 4. Okay, so let me start from absolute beginning. What does Word contain? It contains text, it contains tables, it contains many things. So let's start with text. I am typing, whatever I type looks like this. Fine. Now obviously I don't want it to be looking like that. I want the word abstract to look like a main topic. Now whose job is it? To make it look like a main topic? Not your job. Till now we are assuming it is my job, and then you are selecting this and then making it what? What formatting do you use to make it look like a heading? That is the correct way. But most people will manually do it, and because multiple people are doing it, they will have their own preference. Correct? Yes or no? So someone chooses 16, someone chooses 14, someone makes it bold, someone is blue, someone is purple. And who is helping whom? We are helping Word. We want Word to help us. So we just need to inform Word that this is my main topic. How do you do that? How do you do that? By going here and choosing heading 1. Where does that come? In Home tab, under Home tab Styles, heading 1. Just click on heading 1. So Word knows how to make it look bigger. It looks like a main topic now. Okay, then the next topic I am trying to type. What is the next topic? Let's say sources of information. Now this is a main topic. So what do? Heading 1. Under sources of information, this is one subtopic. What should I do now? Heading 2. How many such headings are there? Notice there is heading 1, heading 2. Now if you think of the documents you create, main topic and subtopic, that's the division it is giving you. 2 levels are enough for you? Obviously not, but let's use 2 and then see what happens. So let's apply 2 here, and then I'm just going to put some random data. Don't worry how I'm doing it. And then another source of information I have is, now this is also heading 2. So like that I create my, now notice heading 3 is also shown here now. So like that, if you use the previous level of heading, only then it exposes the next level of heading. Actually there are 9 levels of headings. Now why did Microsoft not show 9 levels? Why did it show only 2? There is space. Because if you are not bothered to look at heading 1 and 2, what is the point in impressing you by showing 9? You are never going to open that drop down in the first place, correct? So it is smart. Now we know there are 9 levels. So I'm just going to do this quickly. There are shortcuts. You figure out what the shortcut is. So like this, I'm just creating a long document. Then I'm saying discussion. This is topic heading 1. Then I'm saying conclusion. Again, I'm typing some random text. Recommendations. Now I may write the document the way things come to my mind or the way data is available to me. I may not write it in the exact order in which the final document will be. Whatever comes, I just put it. Fine. Now we have a document. This is a 22-page document now. Now we have another problem, moving in the document from one place to another. So now I want to go to sources of information. What should I do? How do I go there?
Insert table of content and control key.
Yes, but table of contents is only relevant if you are printing it. Nowadays, many times we never print the document. So on screen, I want to just jump from one place to another. What do you do today? We use Control F, find, correct? Now if I go to find and I say scope of work, what is the chance that that will be a unique sentence or phrase? The same phrase may appear multiple times, so I'm wasting my time doing find next, find next. Now who is helping whom? Are you understanding the concept now? What I'm really showing you is not these features. I'm showing you a new thought process. That thought process you have to inculcate. What is the thought process? While working, you have to start auditing yourself and noticing what you are doing and asking these questions. Am I helping? Then stop. There must be a better way. So now I want a quick method of moving between the document without wasting time. To save time, I will tell you the answer is here. Tell me the answer. Why have we come here? Some method of quickly moving from one place to another. Very nice. That's called navigation pane. If you are using older version of Word, this was called document map. It means the same thing. So now when I do that, it creates something like a table of contents on the left side. This doesn't get printed, so you don't have to worry. This is designed for on-screen reading. So I want to go to discussion, I'll directly go to discussion. I want to go to abstract, I'll click here. I want to go to conclusion, I'll click here. I no longer care how far it is. And there is no find next involved. Is it better? Is it a new feature? Is it a new feature? How long this feature is there? Any guess? How many years? Yes, 22 years. 22 years. Anyway, now notice discussion has become subtopic of sources of information. I made a mistake. Why? Because I applied heading 2. Now I want to make it heading 1. What should I do? Go to discussion and make it heading 1. Agreed. Anything else? So if I want to know what can I do at that particular place, there is a very simple but extremely powerful way of finding it out. What is that? Right click. Very nice. Right click. When I right click, it gives me what can I do here. Discussion is at level 2 right now. I want to make it level 1. That is like promote. So it will move here. I could have done that by applying heading 2 also or heading 1 also, but notice I didn't move. I am in conclusion and I am making this promote and demote. I didn't even go there to change that state of affairs. Fair enough. Now, anything wrong with the order of things here? Because I wrote it in the order in which it came to my mind or the data came to me, but finally I want conclusion as the last point. And now normally what would you be doing? You would go to conclusion, then say shift page down, shift page down, shift page down till what time? Till the end or lunchtime, whichever comes earlier. And then continue shift page down and then cut and paste, which also doesn't work properly. Right or wrong? So what should we do? In this case, you don't even have to right click. Just think, what would be the simplest way of changing the order? Very nice. Drag and drop. That's how you reorder documents. Is it useful? Are you feeling good or bad? But I don't see much pleasure on your faces because you are back calculating how much life I have wasted by not knowing this. Unfortunately, unlike Word, Excel, PowerPoint, this button is not there in life. So whatever you have wasted, you have wasted. You can't change anything, but now at least you can proactively be awake to what you are doing and notice things and become phenomenally efficient. The ball is in your court. Fair enough. Now in formal documents, sometimes we need something else. What do we need? We need numbering. That's item number 1. Second, you may have written a document first and then maybe you show it to someone. They say this is good. Why don't you present it to a larger audience and then we'll do it on a larger scale. So now I started as a doc, but I want a PPT. Does that happen? So now from this document, I have to create a presentation. How will you do it? Now don't tell me how you do it. Why? Because while you are telling it, you yourself will know you are helping Word. Correct? So now who should help you? Word should help you, because Word is also written by Microsoft, PowerPoint also written by Microsoft. Why can't they talk to each other and finish it off? So they do. What do? There is a small little button here called Send to PowerPoint. You just click on it. Now it starts PowerPoint, it creates a new presentation and you have a presentation now. When was the last time you clapped? Come on. Whom are you clapping for? Not for me. No, not for Word. Word doesn't understand you clapped. Whom are you clapping for? Yourself. Because next time you are going to use this. Understand the idea? Now this is not the best option. Now notice what happens. This looks miraculous and nice, but in practice you will get disgusted very soon. Why? Because this has this color, font, whatever, come from where? Word. So from PowerPoint's point of view, it is extraneous formatting. If I put a blank slide here and I type the same thing called discussion, notice the color is different. Why? Because this is the default template color. That blue color has got imported from Word in the process of this send to PowerPoint. Because of that, now if I apply a different template to it and that template happens to have a blue background color, notice what will happen. Your sources of information is no longer seen now because the background is also blue, the font is also blue. Understand the problem? So now send to PowerPoint, step number 1. As soon as you send to PowerPoint, we want to get rid of that extraneous formatting which has come from Word so that PowerPoint can take over. How do you do that? Select all the slides and then click one miraculous button again, which was sitting right here. I'm sure you have clicked on this button thousands of times, but this was around 20 kilometers away, so nobody noticed it. So one click on that will reset it to the current slide or the current template, so to say, and then whatever you do will not interfere with each other. And then it will work as expected. Good? Useful? Okay. Now this problem is, nobody has laptops or desktops here. Now the first thing you are going to go back and try is this when you go back on your desk. And unfortunately, you will not find this button. Why will you not find this button? Is it a new feature? No, it's not. So look at it this way. Do you remember old version of Word? Very old, 2003. The older version. You remember or not? So file menu. You remember? If you had to send a mail to someone, where would you go? File, send to. Have you gone there before in life? Have you looked at all the options there? No. So look at all the options now. There was an option called PowerPoint at the bottom. Now nobody noticed it, nobody clicked on it. Unfortunately, Microsoft keeps track of which buttons are clicked how many times worldwide. And their analysis showed that nobody has clicked on that button ever. So in the new version, they removed that button. This is called defeat of technology. Why people didn't click on it? Not because it was useless, because nobody noticed it. But still, the space in menus is precious. So they have to optimize it. That's why they removed it in the new version. So that's why you don't see it when you go back to Word. So what do we do now? You will not see this. You will only see save, undo and redo. So now what do? You have to add the button. Microsoft removed it does not mean they removed the feature. They removed it from the menu. It is still there. You have to add it. So right click on this and then say customize. Customize means I will add my own buttons there. Now these three buttons you already have, save, undo and redo. I want to add from this list. This is a long list. Is this list useful? Is this list useful? What are we looking for? Send to PowerPoint. How will that option ever become popular? Nobody knows it. So how will it be under popular? It has no scope of being under popular. So open this and then go to all commands. Now you will have the thing. This is a very long list, so just type S. And then after typing S, just press page down, page down, page down till you come to send to PowerPoint. And then click on add. And then click OK. Now you will have that button always available to you. That's how you customize your toolbar and put things you want. Of course, nobody has done it because we don't want anything. So this is a psychological rather than a technological problem. Let me explain. How many psychologists, psychiatrists here? Anyone? Okay. So when we look at Office, what happens? Is it enjoyable or frustrating? Are you happy or sad by looking that there's so many buttons and so many options? If you're happy, you would have explored all of them. Do you know all of them? Do we know all of them? No. We know that we don't know all of them, but we are not worried about it because kaam ho raha hai, right? As long as work is getting done, nobody is asking me why are you doing it in this way, because nobody is bothered. But from a hospital or medical point of view, don't we optimize every process? Don't we try to find every small little inefficiency and try to optimize it, automate it in whatever possible way? That thought process of optimization has never been applied to Office as a topic. That's all. So how do we solve the problem? Isn't it too much of visual input for us? Unnecessary. Microsoft doesn't stop putting buttons, so we have to find a solution. So how do we find a solution? We stop looking at them. Correct? Now can you hear some noise? Aircon noise, can you hear? That was there since beginning, but nobody noticed it because it was not useful to us. We didn't pay attention to it, so our brain masked it. From a physical or physics point of view, the sound waves are still falling, but they are not getting interpreted because brain is masking the interpretation. That's called inattentional blindness. That is what happens to office. We are blind to everything which we think is useless. And then you get a new version which has more buttons, 1000 more. Are you impressed or depressed? Earlier, out of 7000 buttons, I was using 150. Now I have 8000 buttons. My efficiency should... You can't find version and even more frustrated. And when you don't like something, you are not going to have any curiosity to explore it. So eventually you will find those buttons and life goes on like this. Blur is lying. Now why Microsoft has thousands of buttons every year? Because they have nothing else to do. There are some programmers sitting, they have to be given salary, so bolo chalo, everyone put one button every day. Is that how software development happens? Even if you are not from software industry, everything has a purpose, right? It is trying to solve a problem. So every button has originated from a need. We never assumed that I need it, that's why we never looked at it. So now you have to change your mindset. So let me show you what our current mindset is. I already know what I need to know because job is getting done, and what I don't know, I don't need. End of story. So what I don't need, I conveniently assume is useless. This is a wrong thought process. Remove it from your mind. Another one is basic and advanced. I am a doctor, I am a nurse, I am XYZ. I only need to know basics of office because what is my core subject, whatever is your core subject. If I want to grow in my career, obviously I will go deeper into my subject. Nothing wrong with that. But in order to use your subject well, don't you create documents, don't you do data analysis, don't you present to people? So if you don't know office, you are slowing down your growth rather than accelerating it. Office is the hindrance, not your expertise. So have you seen experts in the field with pathetic presentations? Great teachers who have extremely good clinical experience but can't present themselves properly. That is reducing their growth rather than enhancing it. So this is a wrong thought process. I have shown you many features since I started. So I showed you a feature called what? Table, which automatically copied the formulas. Is it basic or advanced? I showed you selection pane, which allows you to select any item quickly. Basic or advanced? I showed you how to move paragraphs and table rows quickly. Basic or advanced? So what does this mean? This classification itself is wrong. What is basic? Practical definition of basic. What you know is called basic. What you don't know should be called ignorance. Correct? But nobody wants to call themselves ignorant, so we give a stylish looking name called advanced, which means never go there. So remove this thought from your mind. Now this is the wrong thought process. In the next slide, I am going to show you the right thought process. Okay, now I am changing tracks. I am talking PowerPoint now. Previous slide, wrong thought. Next slide, right thought. So now if I want to emphasize the transition between this wrong thought to right thought, which feature of PowerPoint should I use between the two slides? To visually emphasize this wrong to right. Which feature of PowerPoint? Not animation. Animation happens on a slide, not between slides. Transition, very nice. That is how you decide which slide needs a transition. Now everyone knows there are transitions. Everyone knows there are many of them. But how many do we use? Very rarely, correct? Some people never use transitions. There are few people who are in love with the concept of transition as a feature itself. They like that feature, so they use it. How do they use it? They go to all slides, select all, and then they choose a transition. Which transition do they choose? Random. Because if you choose one transition, all slides will have the same transition. Boring, no? So we want excitement. So we generate excitement by putting random transition. Now, how many presentations you must have seen in life? Thousands of them. How many must have delivered? Many of them. Can you say something about presentations? Fill in the blanks. 99% presentations are fill in the blanks. One word. Boring. Very good. So now what happens? Anyway the presentation is boring. Half the people are asleep. And nowadays people have developed a new skill. They keep their eyes open. They move their head. They make various noises. But mentally they are asleep. Some people have still not fallen asleep, they are trying to. Now those people get a good time pass. They say anyway presentation is boring, what to do, neend bhi nahi aa raha hai. So what do? They play a game with themselves. They predict the next transition. So that is devaluing your presentation. Don't ever use random transitions. So now, first step, decide when you need a transition, which I have already said. Bad, good, less, more, any kind of drastic change between previous and next. Then you want to visually emphasize that change, then you need a transition. Now the question is which transition? Now those who have used transition, which one have you used? Tell me. I go to a slide, I want to use a transition. I go to transition, fine. Which one will you use? One of these, because nobody has the courage, effort. Kitna effort lagta hai to open this drop down? Nobody is going to do that. Tremendous effort is required. So one of these will be used. Now if you do take the trouble of opening this, what happens? You say, oh, so many. No, I don't have time. So you press escape and go home. Are you understanding the thought process? Don't you use escape? Commonly or rarely? Commonly. So if you look at your keyboard, how does it look? Now also notice something else. This is a long presentation. I have 200 slides. But I can quickly do this. Now I am only seeing topics and I can jump to the topic I want very quickly and then go to the slide I want very quickly. How was this done? By using a feature called sections. If time permits, I will show you that. Otherwise you figure it out. So this is how your keyboard looks. क्या प्रॉब्लम है? This happens in all machines. Any machine, the commonest use key, that screen printing is gone, the inside button is visible now, correct? And the next door neighbor, which is called F1, which is designed for what? No, it is no longer called a help key. Microsoft renamed it now to helpless. Because there is no hope for that key, nobody is touching it. By mistake, sometimes while pressing escape, your hand goes there and by mistake it is pressed. That's the only purpose. So what am I trying to say? When you press escape, you are running away from your own benefits. Think about it. And when you go to F1, you are exploring. So I am changing the mindset. Use this less and use this more. That change in thought process is called efficiency. It is not about absolute number of features you know. There is no competition going on. It's competing with yourself and your growth. Okay, with that in mind now, which transition will look nice to show you the wrong thought process and then change it to the right thought process. With this, you will understand the importance of this transition which I am going to show you. So I am saying remove this thought process from your mind and form a new thought process. What is the new thought process? First explore and then decide whether you need it or not. So did you see the transition? If I had just shown you the slide, you may not have noticed the transition as a feature, but it would have had an impact on the audience's mind. Even if your otherwise presentation was pathetic, they will at least ask you, how did you do that? So there are some brownie points to be gained either way. But now, wait, is this the perfect transition? It's better than not having a transition. It's a good transition to have in this situation, but is it the best? What did I say? Remove this thought from your mind and form a new thought. Form means what? At this point the thought doesn't exist. It has to form from nowhere. But what does this look like? There was a layer of wrong thought which we threw away, but the right thought was already there. So what I am saying and what I am showing is not matching. That confuses the audience and that reduces the impact of your presentation. So to save time, I will show you the right transition, perfect transition for this purpose. And then you will understand the impact. So again, remove this thought from your mind and form a new thought. First explore, then decide. Is that good? This transition is called vortex. If it's used in the wrong context, it will look very sad, but if it's in the correct context, it will amplify that slide 10 times. So what am I trying to say? How are you going to make use of this feature? You will have to not just start using transitions. Just deciding mentally that I'm going to use transitions is not going to help you. What will you have to do? You'll have to practice this. How will you have to practice this? You create 2 slides with different backgrounds. Right now I'm just doing it with 2 different colors to simplify things. And now you go to the second slide. And whenever you have 10 minutes extra in life, click on the particular transition and click on this button called preview. So without running the slideshow, it will show you how it looks. This is called split. Now there is another one called shape. This is called shape or circle. There is another one, some nicer ones I'll show you. This is called ripple. This is called origami. What does that do? Now if I had just read the word origami, I would not have understood it. So what am I doing quickly in 10 minutes? I am building a visual vocabulary. Once I have the vocabulary in mind, our brain is smart enough to guide you, saying in this situation maybe that one will fit. There are 43 transitions, but doesn't mean every situation any of them can be used. So what am I saying? 2 steps. Learn every feature, step 1, and then find the right feature in the right context. That methodology is called efficiency. Okay, so let's go back to Word. Now there is one more thing we need to do here is numbering. If it's a formal document, you may actually have 1, 2, 2.1, 2.2 like that. Do you do that for thesis or many other documents? How do you do that? Manually. Who is helping whom? So you know the story now. So who should help me? Word. So I go here. Notice, make sure your cursor is in one of the topics or headings, and then I go to where? We have seen bullets, we have seen numbering. Those are not the guys. There is a third one there. That's called multi-level numbering. You go there, maybe you have gone here but pressed escape because earlier you didn't know what heading meant, but now we know what heading means and we have used those headings. So now in one click you get what you want. Nothing seems to have happened, but it has. And then when I rearrange things, obviously it is not your job, Word will do the job automatically. 22 years in case you are asking. Make sense? Alright, now one small thing I'll show you. I'm sure you do find in Word. Find, simple Control F, find. Now if you use new version, that has changed. So let me open some document. So now this is a document. This document is about efficiency. I want to search for the word efficiency. Normally we press Ctrl F and you get something like this. Correct? Older version will get this. New version will not give you this. Now if I am searching for the word efficiency, what happens? I type it, then I say find next. Now it does find it, but I can't read the whole paragraph. It comes in the way. So what do? I press to get rid of the dialogue so that I can read the whole paragraph. What do you have to do? Or press escape. Now this is not the guy I wanted. Then I do find next. This also I don't want. Then I do find next. How many times? We don't even know how many times. It doesn't show you a number saying there are 20 instances or 2000. So you're just wasting time, isn't it? This is literally like groping in the dark. Agreed or not? So now Microsoft changed this. If you go to the new version, some of you may have noticed it already. What happens is, if you press Ctrl F, what happens? The original dialog doesn't appear at all. This thing comes and then you get irritated saying, why is Microsoft troubling me? What was wrong with that old one? Why is it changing? It's irritating. So now one simple rule in life. If any feature is irritating, what does that mean? Does Microsoft know that people are getting irritated with it? What do you think? They should know, isn't it? They are doing this for 25 years. They will know what they are doing. People like it or they don't like it. So obviously they know it is irritating. How many customers use Office? 1.5 billion people. Alright? So why would Microsoft want to trouble 1.5 billion people knowingly? If they added the feature, hoping that people will like it, people didn't like it, they could remove it also. But they have not done it. Why? They have maintained the feature in spite of knowing that 1.5 billion people dislike it. Isn't that a risk? Why are they taking that risk? Think. On the face of it may sound like discontinuity or irritating, but actually it is extremely useful and much better than the previous one. Now that is not obvious, so you have to explore. If something is irritating, assume it is useful and find out why is it useful to me. That extra step we never take. So notice what I am doing. I am typing the same word efficiency here. What happened? What is it showing me? It's telling me the count, which is a good idea. If I had got 120,000 results, I would have thought of a different search phrase and given up on that result at all. Okay, what else is it showing me? It is showing me the sentences, those 11 places, those sentences where the word appeared. Now this may sound like sentences, but if you go there, this is page 1, and if you go here, this is page 12. It is not showing you pages, it is showing you instances of where that word efficiency has occurred, because you want to go to a particular instance, not all instances. So you can find that much better by just scrolling here rather than wasting time in find next, find next. Is that sounding useful? Not only that, when you go to pages, normally we would just be happy with this. We will never go to pages because we thought search ka page say there is no context only. So go to pages. Notice what it is showing me now. Page 1. Okay. And then after that directly page 12 and 18 and 31. So what has it done? It has only shown me pages which have the word efficiency on them. Okay. Fair enough. I understood it. But what's the point? Whatever is there, it's in small little yellow. I can't read it anyway. I have to click on it and then read the page. Agreed. But in this view itself, can I make some sense out of it? Can there be a benefit which I have not thought about? So think about it now. First page, how many times it has appeared? One. Second, whatever, 12th page? Many times. You see that many yellows. And this page only twice. This page only twice. So what does that mean? From a practical standpoint, what does that mean? I have introduced the topic in page 1 and I have discussed the topic in page 18. So if I am thinking of going to discussion, I will directly go to page 12. That information would not have been understood by looking at these results. So that is the benefit of page view. Are you understanding the benefit now? Now headings. We know what are headings. This gives you sort of a table of contents. We know that already. But what is new now? Some things are yellow. Why are they yellow? It tells you that the word efficiency has appeared maybe once or twice, I don't know, but at least once under that topic. Okay, fair enough. What is the benefit practically? Yeah, so I am writing the document. I know it is about efficiency. So it is telling me where you have written about efficiency. So what's the big deal? What's the benefit? Yellow means the word efficiency has occurred there. Not yellow means what? So can we use that information intelligently? So if I am talking about efficiency, is this paper whole thing about, how can I not mention anything about efficiency in methodology and results? So even omissions are also found here. So what does it give you? This is a brilliant way of understanding distribution of a thought or a keyword or a phrase across your document. Are you understanding the nuances of what every day we see? Now you will understand why Control F was changed to this. It's good for us. So what is the general rule? Anything irritating means useful. Clear? So let me show you another irritating thing and then I'll show you how useful that is. By the way, any questions you have any time, just stop me. There is no formal question and answer. Yes, ma'am.
When you converted Word into PPT, headings were shifted.
Yeah, because that's based on the template. No? Whatever is the PowerPoint template, it will auto-adjust.
Is there any way we can shift the content also?
No. Anything which has heading style attached will go to PowerPoint. Anything which doesn't have heading style attached, actually it does have a heading called normal. That is the base content. Now if you dump the base content in PowerPoint, it's not going to fit anyway. And even if you somehow do that, finally you will reproduce a Word document in PowerPoint, which is not the whole purpose. Alright, so now I am showing you something else. Let's say I am just doing simple copy paste, and this happens all the time. I have multiple paragraphs, multiple people have struggled with the document, so I have different formattings in the same document. Now if I copy something from here, purple thing, into black area, what will happen? It will remain purple or become black? You want it to become black and match with the surroundings, but in real life what will happen? It will remain purple. Now what do? What you wanted didn't happen. So now we say, whose job is it to make it look like the surroundings? Mine or words? Most of us say mine, and then we will do format painter or we will do something manually. Agreed? Now we don't want to do that. Now notice, what we wanted did not happen. Agreed. But there is something else which happens there which we have not noticed. What is wrong with me? Let me restart Word. Just give me a minute. Do you use, how do you start Word, by the way, or Excel or PowerPoint for that matter? How do you start it? Go to Windows, Programs, All Programs. So do you remember I saying everything we do is inefficient? You should just right click here first time and say pin to taskbar. So in one click you can start it. Agreed. But do you also notice that common documents appear here? Now do you also notice there is a pin there? Why is that pin there? We don't know. So what is the choice? Ignore or explore? What is easier? Ignore. Now I am asking you to explore. Explore means go there. What is it saying? If you take it there, pin this to list. So if this is a document I open common very often, then I pin it. Then it goes above this line. Now these documents will never disappear from this list. This is a dynamic list. It will only show you 10 items and the 11th item will purge the first one. So if I want something commonly, I pin it. So now I am going to directly open not Word but the document I want. Same thing works in all products. Anyway, so now I copy purple, paste it here. What happens? What I don't want happens. So whenever something happens which you don't want, either you do it manually or you undo and then do it manually. Correct? Is undo a common action? What is the shortcut? Common actions have shortcuts. What is the keyboard shortcut for undo? Control U. Control U? Why Z? Why not U? Control P is print, Control S is save. Why Control Z for undo? Where is Z? What is the logic? The logic is this. Because it's the most commonly used action, Z is the nearest key to control. So what is this called? Ergonomics. So a lot of thought goes into everything which goes on. It's just that we don't reciprocate by thinking about it and benefiting from it. Anyway, so whenever you undo, do you feel bad? You did something, you wanted something completely different happened, then you got frustrated, then you did undo. You have still not got what you wanted, by the way. We just repaired the damage. And then you have to do some manual work to get it done. So whenever you press undo, what is it trying to tell you? Indirectly, what is it trying to tell you?
You lost something.
Undo means you don't know. It's exposing your ignorance. Good or bad? No, good, because the moment you know you're ignorant, you will have an ego problem, then you will try to find the solution. So every undo is a learning opportunity, remember. Stop doing undo, look around, you will find the solution. Don't undo. So with that in mind now, I am going to do this copy paste again. Sorry. So I select something purple, then I paste it. I don't want to undo, I don't want to do it manually. This irritating character comes. Have you noticed that or not? Everyone in the world gets irritated with it. Nobody clicks on it. But now what is our job? Irritating means useful. So click on it. Now it says, by default, I do this. You don't like it? I am capable of doing other two things also. Now what are those other two things? I can't look at those icons and understand what it does. So now what you do is, don't click. Just take your mouse cursor there. It says if you use this, this is how it will look. If you do this, this is how it will look. What do you want? This one? Click. Job done. That is how we eliminate undo. So whenever there is an undo situation, look for that irritating icon, click on it, move your mouse over all options, you will find your answer. That is another very simple way of learning Office. Good? Useful? I'll give you an example in Excel also for this guy. Many times we want simple serial number. What do? If you put 1 and drag, what happens? Nothing. 1, 1, 1 comes. We already got frustrated about it long back in some college days. So now we know the hard way. You have to type 1, 2 and then drag, it works. But before we gave up on 1, 1, 1, that time you didn't know this guy is your best friend. You thought it's your enemy, so you never clicked on it. Now you know it is your best friend. And say, you tell me, I will fill it. Now you think this is intelligent? No. Let's say you are talking about, you are doing a clinical study and every month you are recruiting patients. So end of month, I want to know total number of patients. So each end of month is a date and number of patients. I want to do simple 2-column thing. So I have put here 31st Jan 2014. Fine. Now next month, next what do I want? Not first of, I want the next month end, next month end, next month end. Obviously that is not going to happen. What is going to happen? Because most people in the world, when they drag a date, want the next date. So Microsoft has no choice but to go by the popular opinion. But does it mean Microsoft is not capable of taking the unpopular or exceptions? It is. So Microsoft's way of telling you that it has thought of all exceptions is this button. Now notice, earlier it was number, now it is date. All the options have changed, and in one click you say fill months and you get the job done. This is there for 25 years. Are you feeling bad about your past? The whole purpose of my session is to make you feel as miserable as possible about your past existence. The more bad you feel, the better you are going to be, because with vengeance you are going to explore those things which you have been ignoring. Are you getting the concept? Very nice. So we'll come back. So bottom line, copy paste, look at this guy. Alright, we'll go to the next topic. How much time? Any questions so far? Okay, now you know my method, so we'll do it faster. Does this happen often? Table copy pasted from somewhere goes out of the page. And then who is helping whom? You know the topic already. So whatever you are doing is inefficient. What is the correct method? To assume that Microsoft must have given me a method of getting that table in. I just have to tell Word, get it in, fit it in the page. My job is to just find that button. Now where should I go for that? Design or layout? And look at all the buttons again, same story. Okay, now be smart, don't think. Earlier we had 40 buttons to look at, so we had to look at them. Now there are only 3. It is faster to try all of them. Ek to chalega na. So be smart. So auto fit to window is the real answer. That's it. Now this one has a different problem. This is short, this is also short, this is long, this requires more width. So what do? Should I show you, or you know by now what you do is wrong? Okay, just to rub it in I will show you. You do like this. Sometimes we overdo it. So, oh, problem ho gaya. Thoda sa. No problem, we have lot of time. Absolutely no problem. Obviously this is wrong. Whose job is it? Words. Now we already know auto fit. The only problem in this case is auto fit to contents. So you say auto fit to contents, and this guy has done the job. This is a word processor, not a typewriter. It is 1000 times more intelligent than you as far as making a page is concerned. So utilize that strength. Doing that is our weakness. We are utilizing the strength of the software. That is called efficiency. Now you may be very happy with the fact that it has auto fit everything, but that will be a very sad situation very soon. Why? Because this guy is over smart sometimes. Notice what happens now. Now this is very irritating. While you are typing, it is trying to adjust, which is very bad. It will disturb your concentration. So what is the conclusion? Don't apply this setting until after you have finished putting everything in the table. Do it as the last step. But you also know that there is nothing like a last step. Sooner or later, tomorrow you may want to change it. So if you now have got autofit done, the allocation of space is correct. Now you need to tell this guy, don't trouble me now, keep quiet. That is why there is a third option called fixed column width. Now it doesn't interfere with your life. So everything has a purpose. Finding the purpose is your job, and that is what is going to make you phenomenally efficient. Okay, now another one. This is a really sad one. Look at this one. This row has got broken across pages. We never like it. So how do you make it? This is now a frustration situation. Now we're very angry with the way Word is behaving. So how do we punish Word? By pressing enter, enter, enter. But that solved only one column's problem. Right now I have 2 columns. I'll have to do that enter, enter. If I have 17 columns, people happily do it 17 times. Come on, we are intelligent human beings. We are not designed to do such thing. This is Word's job. We have to tell Word don't break the row, and Word should do it. Isn't that the correct thought process? The problem is, if I only select this row and somehow tell Word not to break it, that is not enough, because right now this row is breaking. Tomorrow some other row will break. So to be on the safer side, what should we do? Select the whole table, and then again we are back to the same old layout option. Now look at what we are doing. Now all the options change something in the table. Are we changing something visually in the table right now? We are just changing its behavior. So from that point of view, which option sounds useful? Properties. Very nice. Now there is another bad habit we have. First of all, we don't go there. If we go there and you see so many things, you say, oh, I don't need all this, escape is my best friend, come out. So whenever you go to such complex dialogues, I do agree that you get confused, but how do you avoid that confusion? By not reading what is written here first. Read this. Remember why we have come here. We have come to do something about rows. So go there and then explore. So now what you thought was a bug is actually a feature. You just tell Word don't break. That's it. Now it is Word's job. So it's done. So now that whole page automatically done. Now notice that whole row has gone to the next page. If I create enough space above, the whole thing will come up also. No problem. So I'm just deleting something above. This guy came up, and anytime there is a danger that this thing has to break, notice what it will do. The whole thing goes exactly what you wanted. But there is one small problem still left. What is that? Can you tell me? Headers. Again, the headers we copy paste and struggle with it. Obviously that's not our job, so it is a layout problem. So what do? Look at the options again. It doesn't allow me to click. Gray means what? Inactive. Now for 20 years we have mastered the art of ignoring things which are active. So if something is inactive, that gives you another excuse to not look at it. So now inactive means additional challenge. When will it become active? That context you have to think. That's how you learn. So now look at the screen, you will understand what is wrong. Where is my cursor right now? Which row is it on? Is it on first row? Where is it? Sorry, I'll just scroll and show you. This is on the second row. How can second row become a header? That is what it is trying to tell you by not making that button active so that you don't make a mistake. So you click on the first row, this becomes active and job is done. No need to check. Now this is a longer table. I will do the same thing here. By the way, also notice that there is an S there, plural. What does that mean? What does that mean? More than one rows can be a part of the header. If I had not shown you this, you would be happily repeating only one row in life. Now in my case, this both the rows is my header. So what do? I select both the rows and then I say repeat header rows. That's why it is plural. So as long as the first row is a part of it, it is done. You never have to bother again. Happy? Alright. Okay, let's do something else. Any questions? Sometimes we insert other things into Word, pictures, and then things go wrong. So let me try to see if I have some pictures which I can insert. Okay, so I inserted a picture. It is too big for me, so I'm going to make it smaller. Okay, so notice what happens if I make it smaller. It behaves like this. And then what happens? If I type something, what happens? If I type something, what happens? If I type something, what happens? Depending on where you have pasted it, it may even move around while you are typing, and this space gets wasted. So what is the solution? I am sure many of you know this already. What is the solution? Wrap text. So click on the picture, then you will see picture tools, and then you go to wrap text. By default, it is called in line with text. That means it behaves as though it was text. We don't want that in this case, so we say square. So what happens? The text wraps around it, and if I move it around, text will adjust itself. Simple and effective. Now look at this new feature in 2013. If I am pasting a picture there, I would like to be in the center vertically, in the center of the page. Now most of us would do it approximately, saying okay, ye center hai. Now notice what happens. While you are dragging, when you reach the center, it shows you a line. This means you are perfectly in the center. Just release the mouse. So without trial and error, you can get better alignment. This is a new feature. Anyway, now notice what is there. This is a picture which I have adjusted, kept, all done. Now, just to show you how deep this product is, I'm going to show you one more option just next to it. This is square, what we just did. Next to it, there is something called tight. You see what happened? Do you see much difference between square and tight? This is tight, this is square. Hardly any difference. So at this stage, you would conclude that tight mein koi farak nahi padta hai. It's a useless feature, correct? So now let me show you one more feature and then we'll come back to it. So I'm just copying this picture, pasting it here. Right now, same picture, paste it twice. Now this whatever specimen is, I don't want the blue cloth, I don't want anything else. I just want to focus on the specimen. I want to remove that cloth and background. What do I do? How do I remove that blue part? That means I need some photo editing software like Photoshop, which everyone doesn't have. So what everyone does have is called Office. Have you gone to picture tools before? Have you seen all the buttons before? No. Remove background. Now of course PowerPoint or Excel or Word doesn't know what you want and what you don't want, so it needs your help. So what it does is it tries to give you a rectangle inside. Now arrange that rectangle in such a way the area of your interest is fully within the rectangle as tightly as possible. Done? Now pink part will be removed. Now notice there is a shadow coming. This is actual optical shadow when the photograph was taken. I don't want that also. Then what will I do? I will say mark areas to remove. Now this shadow is a very curved thing. I cannot draw that precisely. So I just go there and draw a line somewhere in that black area. Notice how smart it is. It picked it out and it is removing the unwanted part. And then when I say keep changes, I see only the lesion. Isn't that better? This works in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of them. So far so good? Happy? Now I click here, I go to wrap text, and this time I say tight and see what happens. That is the purpose of tight. Because you didn't know remove background, you didn't have any picture with any transparency in it. So all pictures were rectangular, so tight and square didn't mean anything to you visually. But now that we know how this is done, this is how page making is done. If you see professionally done pages, they will be looking like this. What is the difference? This is the difference. And now I still want to give a shadow. I can give a better looking shadow from here. So I can go here, go to picture styles, and I can give a shadow here. Now I am choosing my shadow. I am deciding how the shadow falls, what is the angle at which it falls, how much blur is there, and whatever is good for me. So look at the difference. Now things are under your control. Any questions? Shall we go to something else now? Enough of Word? Or any specific questions on Word? Anything which I have not covered but you are facing problems?
Most of the time, people need to know the tools for their scientific writing.
Bibliography, yeah.
Bibliography is one. Second is reference,
Cross-reference, yeah.
You can cover that.
Okay, sure. Now, one of the methods of cross-referencing, where in the same document you want to refer to another part of the document. For example, I have this document. I don't have a medical one, but never mind. This is my document map. Now, in the summary or abstract, I want to talk about something in recommendations. Okay, so in this, I have just put one sentence. Now, I just don't want to write that sentence. I want people to be able to click there and jump to recommendations directly. That's called a cross-reference. Obviously, this will work only on screen, not on printout. So how do I do that? I select the word recommendations and then I go to insert hyperlink. You can do it from right click also. Insert hyperlink.
This one is hyperlink, but the cross-reference, for example, giving a reference for a table, reference for a
Yeah, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. So right now this is normal hyperlink. Hyperlink will ask you a web page or an external file. But notice there is one more guy here called place in the document. Now normally if you have gone there, nothing would have appeared here because you never use styles. But now that you have used styles, all of them appear here. So now I want to go to recommendations. Job done. So whenever someone goes and clicks on it, they will jump to recommendations. This is how you create cross-reference. Fine? That's one way. Another way is, let's say in results, I have one specific things. So let me show you what I just wrote. I have written a specific sentence here that incidence of something was 3.5%. Now this part I want to refer to in my abstract. This is not a heading. This is just text. I don't want to apply heading 1. This is never going to become my main topic. But it is an important aspect of my life. I want to refer to it somewhere else. So I select it and then I go to something else. What do? This is something which I want to go back to quickly. So that is called what? It is called a bookmark. So if I go to insert and go to links, next to hyperlink there is bookmark. Now bookmark is just a name you give it. I just give it some name and click on add. Job done. Now I go to my abstract and then somewhere I am typing this. What did I write? The incidence was very high. And now from very high I want to have a link to that place which is where the actual incidence is mentioned. Now what do? Same thing, hyperlink, but this time it is not a heading. So if I go here, place in the document, headings are not there, but notice below bookmarks also appear. So any place in the document can now be referred to. So now if I click on very high, it will directly take me to that incidence line. There is another way of bookmarking. No special styles required, no special formatting required. Got the idea? Alright. Now let's talk about tables. Now if you have tables in a document and you are reading the document, suppose, sometimes reading the table is easier because it's tabular, it's easier to grasp. If you understand the table, then you don't need to read the description below it. So quickly grasping a document, you may want to just go through tables and finish it off quickly. How do I find where the tables are? How do I know where the tables are? So I go to navigation, very nice. Now I can't type the word table. What should I do? What is this thing called? This is the most ignored thing in the world. It's called drop down. What is its job? To drop down. On its own, or it requires human intervention? But humans never intervene, so nobody knows. So when you click there, you will see that you can jump from graphic to graphic, table to table, footnotes, endnotes and comments quickly. So I just say find table. Now I'm on page 1. It took me to whatever page which had a table. I read the table, I am happy with it, I want to go to the next table. What should I do now? Notice these two were not there earlier. They have appeared now. So now if I click on that, that will take me to the next table, next table, next table. I don't care how far they are. Now I am quickly navigating them. Same thing can be done with graphics, footnotes and comments. Is that nice? Useful? By the way, do you use PDF documents? Do you create them or do you get them? So if you create them, where do you create them? In Word and then save as? Or Acrobat? Does everyone have Acrobat? If everyone has Acrobat, then no problem. If you have Word, you can still save it as PDF. But if you get a PDF document and you don't have Acrobat, then you can't edit it. Now you can. In 2013 version of Word, you can edit PDF files without having Acrobat. How do you do that? Very simple. So I'm just going to show you this. Now notice, I'll ask you a question. I have this folder which has a lot of sample files. I have 1200 files here. I don't remember the file name. I only remember it was a PDF document. How will I find it quickly? So, okay, I forgot to tell you one more thing. Wait. One cardinal rule of inefficiency. What is that? Come on, by now you should know. Inefficient, come on. So what is the simplest way to learn? When you are trying to do something, you are saying, okay, I will do it like this. Just discard that first thought. Don't even try it. It has no chance of being efficient. Second thought has a higher chance. So sort will do what? I have 1200 things. By sorting, will the number of files change? They'll just get reordered. And PDF is neither on top nor on bottom. So I am again scrolling. So bad. What else? Sorry? How? That's the question. Sort कहाँ से होता है? यहाँ से होता है. Everyone has seen this. Everyone has clicked on it. Sort, ascending, descending. But nobody in the world even noticed this drop down. This guy is smart. It goes through your document and gives you a list of only those types of documents which are in this folder. I know Acrobat. So I do this. Now notice what happened. I had 1200 documents. Now it is only showing me 32. Now I can see all PDF only. That is the way to quickly go to a particular type. Anyway, so what do you do now? Simple. You go there. This is a PDF file. You right click on it and say open with Word. That's all. If you have Word 2013. It will take a little while because it is reinterpreting the PDF formatting and then it gives you this dialog. Now what do you do when you get such dialogues? We never read it, we just press escape. That's another reason why escape is popular. So read it. What is it trying to tell you? I'm trying to interpret it. All the formatting may not be perfect. First time you read it, then you can say don't show it again. Anyway, so now I'm doing this. So I'll say OK. And now it will open the document in Word. This is the document in Word. Alright. The original document in PDF is non-editable. Now everything is editable. But wait, sometimes PDF documents are scanned documents. If it is scanned, then whether it is Word or PDF, it's a picture. So that part cannot be changed. For example, this part is not a scan, so I can change it. But the second page here is a scan. How do I know? Because this is just a picture. You see this? I can move it as a picture. Then nobody can help you. Or can you? So do you get scanned documents? And in scanned documents you have to search and you need that text and there is no way of getting it. So if I give you a way of getting it, what will you do? Now I have to start charging, I think. Okay, so I'll give you a method. So let's take a scanned document. I'll open it in PDF right now. I don't have a medical scanned document. It's a legal agreement. So this is a stamp paper. This is obviously scanned and signed. Done? Now I want to search in it. There is no way to search because it's all pictures. So what do? I go to File and then I go to Print. Obviously I don't have a printer attached. But in your day-to-day work, have you seen this printer called Send to OneNote? That is a miracle. When you click on it, it says okay, I'll print it to OneNote. OneNote is another product in Office like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, another one called OneNote. I'll show you that. Now it says where should I put it? OneNote is just a collection of notebooks. So I choose whichever notebook. So now it has put it there. Now what has happened? What has happened now? The same document got printed into another place. Printed means what? If there were 2 pages earlier, this has become 2 pages here. Just show you that. This is page 1, this is page 2. Nothing great has happened right now. Even now it is an image. You can see that. Now notice what happens. I am saying Control F. So let me just zoom in so you understand better. So can you see the scanned picture now? Let me put it in view. Can you see that? Obviously this is not a good scan at all. And then I am pressing Control F. Control F is our good old find. And in this Control F, I am just typing one character right now. I am typing character A. And see what happened on the screen. Every word which starts with A is now highlighted, even though it is a picture. So this guy is smart enough to recognize the text inside a picture and give you searching ability. Now I am saying ACT ACT. Now it is saying there are only 2 instances of it. You can move from here to there and then you will see it. So notice only ACT is now searched. This is how you search in a scanned document using OneNote. Is this good? But what did we want? We wanted the actual text. How do you do that? Now all of you are already learning. Tell me how to do it. I don't know whether it is possible. I hope it is possible. How do I check? Right click. Very nice. And how smart it is, because this could have been a 10-page printout. If I had just given a copy option, I would have to copy 10 times. So it is giving you another option. Do you want to copy text from all pages in one stroke? Okay, done. Now I copied it. Where is it now? It is in clipboard. And then what do? I go anywhere else and just paste it. See? Is this useful? What did you promise? Come on. This product you have for 10 years, trust me. Now all other things you are using the product and some features you don't know. This is even worse. You don't know the product itself exists, which is even worse. So let me show you something in OneNote. What is OneNote? OneNote is like a notebook. Many of you are carrying notebooks. Do you carry laptops? Sometimes? Sometimes when you go into a meeting, do you carry laptop? Okay. So let me show you that situation. Now sometimes you don't go to meetings, sometimes you are taking notes, you are doing research. Formal documents we will create using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, no choice. But things which are yet not formalized or will never get formalized, where do we keep them? That is where OneNote comes into use. So OneNote is like a diary, organizer diary. So if you go to OneNote, this is my diary. This diary is called demo. Like an organizer diary, it has colored tabs, different topics, different tabs. Now like that I can create many number of diaries. Alright. So depending on your job, you choose how many diaries you want. So suppose you are studying, then one diary for anatomy, one for physiology, one for biochemistry, like that. If you are handling, say, a particular department, let's say you are handling pathology as the department, then one diary may be for diagnostics, another may be for analytics, third may be for research. So depending on your job profile, when you start using OneNote, create as many empty diaries as needed. Don't worry about space. It doesn't occupy space if it is empty. What we are creating is a collection of diaries topic wise. Otherwise what happens? You will create one diary in OneNote and that will be same as paper based diary. What happens in paper based diary? First page is one lecture you attended, second page is some interview you did, third page is some HR thing you did, fourth page is some patient notes, all getting mixed up. We don't want that to happen. Otherwise we will use technology called OneNote and create a mixed diary. What is the point? So first step in using OneNote is create multiple diaries. Let them be empty based on topics you want. You can change them later. And then when you are about to take notes, choose the right diary. That's all. Automatically things are getting segregated. Fair enough? Now what are the nice things about OneNote? One by one I'll show them. Do you do a lot of search on the internet? I don't know if I'm connected. If I'm connected, I will show you this demo, otherwise I'll give you a reference. Just let me find out if I'm connected. I don't think I am, but still. So you go for a meeting. Do you use Outlook? Some of you use Outlook? So let's say I have a meeting. I'm just going to put a meeting request here. What am I typing? Now typically what happens in a meeting request, you have location, you may have some agenda also, and you may have some attachments also. I'm going to put some attachment. So if you are going inside a meeting, where do you take notes? Either on a physical notepad, or if you have a laptop, maybe in Word. In either case, you start with a blank page. If I go and start a Word page, blank page, this has no clue which meeting, why have we come here. You have to write something to maintain the context. Instead of that, now I'm going to my calendar, and whatever your email thing is, Outlook will work with it. So you right click here on the calendar request and say take notes. Now it will ask you which notebook should I put it in, because you already created multiple topics. So you choose which topic this belongs to and say OK. So now it will create a blank page for you, but that blank page will not be blank. It will have all the details of the meeting. So it's already correlated with the meeting. Otherwise what happens, we take notes in Word. When the meeting is finished, you have to figure out what file name to give, which folder to save it in. 6 months later there is a dispute, you have no clue where the meeting is. Now we have got an identified page and I am taking notes. So I have written some notes. Like this, as many meetings you attend, you will have many notebooks, many sections, many pages. All the notes will also get scattered. Fine. Now after 6 months you have a problem. Something needs to be referred to about this particular meeting. You don't know where it is in OneNote, but you know the meeting happened on that day. So you go to Outlook, same meeting. I am going there after 1 year. Right click on it. I am still saying take notes. Now what does it do? It doesn't ask you. It knows where the page is. It will figure out and give you that page. So notice my old notes already I figured out. This is how these guys link to each other. Now many times what happens? We are talking in a meeting. If it's an important meeting, we have to take minutes of meeting. If we miss something and it doesn't get documented, then it is a problem, because later on if there is a dispute, there is no mention of it in the minutes of meeting. So if everything is important, what do you have to do? Start typing so much that you can't participate in the meeting because you are busy writing everything. That's a problem. So now what do? You go to OneNote and say insert audio. All laptops have a mic. Just say insert audio. It won't ask you any technical questions. It just starts audio. Simple and effective. Now don't have to worry about writing everything, because audio is recording everything. You have to take permission from everyone, of course, otherwise you'll have a legal problem. But assuming everyone agrees to it, it's good for everyone. So why wouldn't they agree? So now what am I doing? I am taking only few notes, because everything is getting recorded. We will come back to the recording a little later. Now I will just do a simple calculation. How many people? Say around 120 people here. Whatever I am showing you, do you think you will save time when you go back and start utilizing this in day-to-day practice? So give me a simple small number. Every day how much time will you save in minutes? Very small conservative number. Okay, I'll take even smaller. 7 minutes is fair. And let's say we have 117 people in the room, and we have 213 working days. So in this room, across the year, how much time will be saved? This multiplied by that, multiplied by that. So tell me the answer. So you don't have to, just press equal to and space bar. This guy has a calculator also. Just type a mathematical expression, it will calculate. Simple and effective. Nice. Now Am I connected? No. Let me try again. Now if you are taking history and you don't want to waste time writing it down, you can also use this for recording what patient is saying in long appointments, not in short ones. This is also another use. If you are doing some demo, if you are teaching, you are conducting a clinic and some specimen is being shown, instead of record audio, you can say record video, turn the webcam to it, and everything which is being spoken can be recorded along with your notes. That is the idea. So till now, what have we seen in OneNote? Just let's summarize that. What have we seen in OneNote? Scan documents, how to handle. Calculator. Notes. Recording. Audio, video, both. Now how much space does it occupy? 10 minutes of audio will be just 1 MB of space, so don't worry about space. And the best part about OneNote is available for free on all devices, not just on Windows PC. It's available on Android, it's available on iOS, it's available on all platforms for free. Now the issue is, today you have started taking notes on your laptop. Tomorrow you are attending a lecture, your laptop is not with you, you are only with a mobile, you are taking notes on mobile. So if you create the OneNote notebook on cloud, then they will synchronize automatically. So what is cloud in this case? The cloud is called, what is it called? It is called OneDrive. What is OneDrive? If you create a Hotmail ID or a Outlook.com ID or an Xbox ID, you get 7 GB of space, like Dropbox or Google Drive. That space is called OneDrive. But unlike Google or Dropbox, it is not just a hard disk. It understands Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote. So now if I want a notebook which will sync on all my devices, what do? I go to File, New, and I say create it on my OneDrive. Once I create it on my OneDrive, that copy will be there and on my machine. Then I go to my mobile, connect to OneDrive and open that OneNote on my device also. So now whatever I am typing will get auto-synchronized everywhere. That's one option. Second option, many of you do group study or you are a part of a clinical trial where multiple people are involved. Now you want to keep each other in sync as to what is happening. Normally syncing means sending mails to each other, correct? So if it's a common project where there are say 18 people involved and 1 month 18 people have to do a lot of work to finish the project. Every day I need to inform 17 other people what I did. What am I going to do? Write a mail and send 17 CCs. The other 17 people are also doing that. And after 1 month, say 23 days of work, how many CCs are floating around? So now those 18 people are supposed to be in sync. They should know what each other has done. How are they going to know? By looking at 6,000 emails? Is that a good thing? This is chaos. But what do we call this? As a team, we are spoiling each other's life. So what should we do in this case? That entire team should create one notebook where? In OneDrive. In fact, you have the professional version of OneDrive also, which is called OneDrive for Business. Now what happens? Everyone shares that OneDrive. Everyone writes on the same notebook. Everyone gets auto-synced. Not a single CC goes from anywhere to anywhere. People will know exactly what people have done. This is the way to do common work in teams as well as do group studies. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you about OneNote is, remember that the recording is still going on. This is just a 5-minute recording. In real life, whatever, you're attending a lecture, taking notes, your recording is going on. Now, if it's a long lecture or a long meeting, the recording will be long, but your notes will be brief because everything is recorded. Why should you write everything? So now we will have a different problem. When I finish the recording, what will I have? A long audio file, correct? And along with that I will have few notes. Now if I want to refer back saying when I wrote this particular thing, what was being spoken, I have a 3-hour long recording now. I know that whatever was spoken is somewhere there in the audio file, but exactly where? That synchronization is a problem. So now let's stop recording and see what happens. So I'm going to stop this recording now. It is still going on. Now notice what I'm doing. I say stop. So what does it give me now? Now it is done, 6 minutes 42 seconds, and it gives me fast forward rewind and it will play. That's not a problem. But I don't want to hear the whole thing. I want to hear it in context of what I have written. So I page down. Now I want to know what was being spoken when I wrote that calculation, 7 multiplied by 117. How do I do that? So notice what happens now. There is a play button here, but wherever I have written something, there is a play button now. Now if I click here and then click on this play button, it's intelligent enough to find out where that location was and start playing from there. So what does it mean? While you were taking notes, it was automatically bookmarking the audio, so you don't have to do it. What does that mean? You have attended a lecture and you have taken notes, and just before the exam you want to revise, you click on that play button and revise any topic with zero extra effort. Not only that, you could have marked important questions with these special tags. Normally we say important means asterisk, something means underline, no standardization. So this guy gives you tags. These tags are ready-made, you can create your own. So any important question I would mark like this. Now any page I go to, I mark that as important. So what happens? Wherever I have tagged it, now just before the exam, what will I do? I will go across my notes and say show me only the important topics. That is called find tags. Or if you attend 50 lectures, everyone is giving you some reference of a book. When you are going to the bookstore, the list of books is scattered across 5 notebooks now. So now if you had marked them as books, you could have said search by books, you will get a list, go to the bookstore and buy. So that is a brief introduction to OneNote. When we started the session, only one person was using it. Now who is going to use it? Obviously it is so compelling, you have to start using it. It's a very nice and addictive software, and teach this to everyone around you and use it in teams as well. Any questions on OneNote?
How to get the OneDrive Professional?
How to get OneDrive Professional? Actually, your organization has already purchased what is called as Office 365,
Okay.
which contains Office, of course, and it contains OneDrive.
Professional also.
Yeah, it's not called, it is, the name is OneDrive for Business. That is the professional version. What is the difference? OneDrive Personal gives you only, it is free and it is only 7 GB. If you want more space, you have to pay for it. OneDrive for Business, you get 1 terabyte of space.
1 terabyte.
This 1 terabyte is for the whole institute,
For every user.
for every user. But in the entire Office 365.
So you already have some licenses, that will happen over a period of
Every
time.
license will have
1 TB.
terabyte separately or whole?
Every license.
Separately.
And you will get a mailbox from Microsoft which is 50 GB in size,
Okay.
as a part of this thing called Office 365. Any other questions?
How the features differ on the Windows or a Mac?
As far as what features I have been showing you till now, most features are common. But in terms of versions, typically Mac version is little behind Windows version.
Say 11 to
If you use Office extensively, use Windows. And don't use tablets. Tablets is an eyewash. If you want real serious work, you need full version of Windows and full version of Office. Everything else is a compromise. Till now we didn't bother because how many of you use Google Docs? Correct? Many of you. So now I'll show you Google Docs. No, I can't. I don't have internet connection, but now just go and do something. Whatever I showed you in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, go and try whether those options are there in Google. Obviously they are not there. Why? Because Microsoft has 12,000 features, Google all put together has 1,000 features. But nobody bothered, because how many do we use? 100. Are you getting the problem? We assumed what we know is enough and what we don't know is useless. But now that you know what you don't know is so powerful, it is in your interest to use all of them because it's going to benefit you. So once you have a productive mindset, then there is no substitute to Office. No browser application. Even Microsoft cannot make a browser version of Office which has all features. Why can't they make it? Not because they don't want to. Microsoft writes the browser software also. Microsoft writes the Office software also. Microsoft writes the operating system also. Microsoft writes the language in which all these softwares are also written. Still they can't make it because there is a limitation of web as a platform, which is not under Microsoft's control. That's why they can't write it. So full version of Office, there is no choice.
Tell us something about Office 365.
Sure. I'll cover it at the end after covering all the other topics. So let's see something more important in Excel from an analysis point of view. Let me see if I have some medical data. Okay, so I have some Bombay data, but I'm sure you can understand it. So I have some simple data here, and I'll show you how to analyze it better. Now, do you do analysis with data? Common or rare? Common. How do you get data? Someone does data entry, or you import it from some report. How does it happen? Data entry. Okay. Both the ways. So now, idea is very simple. When we get the data, we should analyze it. The more you analyze it, more you are going to understand. More you understand, more better you are going to manage things. So from that point of view, all your energy should be spent in analysis. Correct? Now, in order to do analysis, what do we need? That is what I am going to focus on first. So there are two steps. One is, first step is to get the data somehow, and then analysis. Ideally, we should spend all our time here. But in real life, what happens? When you get the data, it may have all the information in it, but the format is wrong. Because the format is wrong, we need to spend a lot of time on cleanup. And very often, it becomes like this. So all the time we spend on cleanup is actually a waste, because that's not adding value to anything. But we can't avoid it, because unless you clean it up, you can't analyze. So we are in a catch-22 situation. So I'll show you how to minimize data cleanup, step 1, and how to clean it up smartly, step 2. So if data comes and it can directly be analyzed, that is called good data. That means we can spend 100% of time here. So that is called good data. If it requires cleanup, it is called bad data. Now, just by classifying them, it doesn't mean. You have to look at it and detect whether it is good or bad. So I'll show you some simple rules. By looking at the data, you should know whether it is good or bad. Now, when I say analysis, what does it mean? Typically, data will be long. There will be multiple rows and rows and rows of data. I want to summarize it and then make some conclusions out of it. Summarization is typically done using what? Using pivot table or some other statistical methods. In either case, data has to be in appropriate format. So what is good data? Good data means data should be in a table. What is a table? We just saw. We just created tables earlier. You notice? So what is a table? Table means data should have heading, which is the title for the column, and data below. This is called good data. Any number of rows, any number of columns, no problem. But it has to be in this format. So if I have, let's say, I'll have to have all disease names here. If I put a number here, that means it is a bad data. I don't want disease code there. If you want disease code, then all should be disease codes. So in a given column, similar type of data has to happen. And every column must have a name. Simple rule. Now many times what happens, that rule is very, very easily broken. For example, I'm just going to create data in front of you so you understand it better. Now I have disease and I have Jan, Feb, March. Whatever the disease is, never mind. And then I have some numbers here. Right now I'm just putting one number for simplicity. Now is this good data? What is our rule? Every data should be in column. Column should have a name and data should be consistent in each column. From that point of view, is it good or bad? It looks good. Right. But the problem is, what do we say? This first thing should be what? Heading. Disease is a heading. These are diseases. This part is okay. Is Jan a heading or data?
Data.
So when data comes in the place of heading, it is also called bad data. Are you getting the problem? Why will this be a problem? Because for this year we'll have to have 12 columns. Then next year you will create new sheet, give the year name to the sheet name, and then after 5 years you'll have 5 sheets. And then you want to do any analysis, you'll have to have very complicated formulas and waste time. So this data is not in good format. This data should have been in this format. Disease is okay. Now month is the heading, and whatever is the quantity amount, that is the heading. This is good data. Are you getting the concept? Now the problem is, many times we don't get data like this. Many times we get data like this. Yes or no? Now earlier we didn't know this is a problem. Now we know this is a problem. Now ideally we want it like this, but we got it like this. What should you do? So we check the data, we noticed it is bad. We don't want to continue with bad data. You have to convert it to good. Agree. The question is, who should do it?
Cleaner.
So data came to you from somewhere. That somewhere is called the source. So if you get data in bad format, you give a template of good format, send it back and say, can you give it to me in this format? That way your time is not wasted in converting it from good to bad. At least try it. If it works, very good. If it doesn't, then I'll tell you how to clean it. But attempt at least to get it in good format. Many times the reason people are not giving data in the correct format is because you never asked for it. So if you ask for it, they may give it. That is the simplest way. Now if you don't have that, let me show you how to convert this data. Now this is a very powerful tool, but you'll have to install it. But this will save you hours of manual work. Let me show you that data. So I have data like this. Right now it is an administrative example. I have different expenses, different expense categories, expense type, and then I have data for each month. I don't like it. I want it in what format? Instead of Jan, Feb, March, I want one column called month and one column called amount. Then life will be easy. Now what does that mean? I will have to do a lot of manual work. I will have to select these, copy them, copy paste as transpose thousands of times. Who is going to do it? That is like me helping Excel. So now Excel has a very powerful tool called Power Query. This works on 2010 and 2013. But you have to install it. So go to browser, search for Power Query for Excel, install it and download it and install it. Now this guy is very powerful. Yeah.
Earlier it was seen as developer.
Now this is not developer tab. Developer tab is still there. That's for macros. This is a new tool. So now what I really want is from this data, which has Jan, Feb, March 12 columns, I want to convert that to a simpler format which has only 2 columns, month and amount. So it has to globally rotate the whole Jan, Feb, March vertically. I am not going to do it. Excel is going to do it. How do I do that? Click here and then say import data in Power Query from Excel. So it will pick up that data and it will show you the data as it is to start with. So this is my Power Query. Power Query has its own window. What is it showing me right now? Exactly the same data. But these 3 columns are good. The other columns are bad. So what do? I select the columns which are bad from Jan all the way to December. Notice I am just selecting the columns from Jan to December. And then I ask Excel to do that conversion by going to the selection and say right click, unpivot columns. Now I don't have time to explain why it is called unpivot. Just remember the option name, unpivot columns. And in one click it will do the job. Even if this was 40,000 rows of data, it will take few more seconds, but it will do it. This saves you tremendous amount of manual work and converts bad data to good data. So if you get this kind of data with months and years in columns, this is what you do first step and then analyze it. Alright. Now there is another very powerful method which is available. Let me show you that. That's simple and intuitive. Now see this. I have got data in 3 columns, but actually it has appeared in 1 column. Ideally it should be in 3 columns. The department, the second number and the third number. How will I split this? Tell me. Who are the Excel experts here? How will I split it into 3 columns? Text to columns? Do you know text to columns? No, text to column here also. So you select the data, go to data, and then there is text to columns. Now it will say, okay, I have to split it by what? So now you see, what do you have to split it by? Space. Wherever there is a space, we want separate column. So we say the delimiter is space, and then it will split it. But unfortunately, what is happening? There is a space between system and admin also. So it will do unnecessary split also. So first row was split properly, second row was not split properly. Now what will you do? No choice, then manually copy, paste and drag. Again, who is helping whom situation comes. So now Microsoft actually used a very sophisticated artificial intelligence algorithm to solve this problem. This is your input. You want something else. You know what you want. So you just type it. I want management here. Second column, what do I want? In third column, just type it. No formula, no thinking. What am I doing now? Like we were telling Word, don't break this row across page. Like that we are telling Word, this is what I want. How to get it? Your problem. So now we go here and press this button, which is like magic. Flash fill. Now figure Excel will do the job and fill it up. You don't have to do anything. No formula, no logic, no programming. Just give one example, it will split it. So try this out. This is only in 2013. This is miraculous. This can save you hours and hours of laborious splitting and merging kind of situations. It even manages textual data like this. For example, here there is a sentence. There is nothing wrong, but there are extra spaces here. How do I remove them? There is no easy single formula which will do it. So I just type the correct version of it and then ask flash fill. It will do the job. How? Don't bother. Excel's problem. Many times you get data from clinical trials and stuff like that where things are not properly written. For example, mobile number is written in so many different ways. You see that? There are spaces, there are tabs, all sorts of variations. Each variation means you think of a different logic, different formula. Now just type. What do you type? The correct. And then click on this guy. What is that? Flash fill. Job done. So if you work extensively with data, it's extremely important that you get new version of Excel. There's so many useful things in it. Now let's go to analysis. How many of you already use pivot table? Pivot table. Okay. So this is data from Bombay. Let me show you what I have. So I have every row is a patient. What was the location? What was the disease? What was the gender, age and marital status? Simple epidemiological data. Now I want to analyze it. What kind of analysis do I want to do? I may want to do counts. How many married, how many unmarried, age grouping, stuff like that. How do we do that? Do we do that today? This kind of analysis, do we do that? Using what? SPSS, Excel, SAS, what? Some special software? Systat, whatever. So let me show you how easy it is in Excel as well. So this is a table. I say insert a pivot table. So I go to pivot table and say OK. So this gives me this kind of information. Okay. Now I want to see by marital status. So this is an empty report and these are 4 areas where you can drag and drop any column. So I want to show marital status on rows. So I drag and drop it here. So notice what happened, married, unmarried, it found the unique items, put it there. And then I drag and drop the same thing here, it is going to do a count. So this gives me the breakup. Simple. 2 drag and 2 drop, job done. Now I want to make it even more complex. So let's keep the marital status as it is. And below that I want male, female also. So I'll go to gender. Now notice I am saying gender and dragging and dropping below marital status. So what happens? Both got broken up further down. If I wanted gender first, I could just drag and drop it here. Now this will give the same report in the reverse order. I want a matrix, that means something in row, something in column. I put gender in columns, then it will give me like this. Simple and effective. This is called pivot table. Is this useful? Now let's do something else. I'm going to keep it like this, but I'm going to add one more column here just to make it a little complex. I have a date column here. Based on that, I'm going to take a month column. Now many times you get date column and you want actual month to be derived from it. How do you do that? This is Excel. So I don't want to explain, just remember this formula. Take this column
You need water?
yeah. Okay, so now notice what is happening. Month column has come. I put month and I put something else. Yeah. So it'll give me the breakup by month. Now I want to see this as a chart. So I click on this, then I go to pivot table analysis, create a chart. Now notice what happens in the chart, many types of chart, you know this already. So I'm going to make a chart like this. Now this chart is linked to that table. So whatever I do in that table will happen to this chart. So right now let me make it a bar chart so it's easier. Okay. So now whatever we see there in the table, we see in the chart like this. I'll make it smaller so that we can put them side by side. You see that? Now if I put gender on top of this, I am putting gender on top of this. So each month should have broken down by male and female. So notice what happens, it gives me this chart. Or I want to say instead of this marital status, it will give me this chart broken down by married, unmarried. So whatever I do in the table reflects directly and automatically in the chart. So it's very easy, very effective. This is one way of doing it. Now let me show you another very new and powerful way of analyzing this kind of data. I don't have internet connection, so some part I cannot show you, but still. Is this useful?
Yes.
Now many times when we want to interpret such things, let me make it simpler. Notice this is raw data. We have summarized it. Now I want to see it as percentage, so I'll see a better picture, correct? It's easier to interpret. Otherwise I have to read 12 numbers to make sense out of these. If I make this 100 and make this broken down by percentage, it will be easier. Now how do we do that? None of you have used pivot tables, obviously you don't know the answer. But now I am trying to show you that if you know my method of learning, you will find the answer. So if I want to do something there, what should I do? Very nice. Right click and look at all the options and think which option sounds sensible. Read all of them first. Show values as. Very nice. And then it has many options. There is a very good chance that you will get scared and press escape here. Resist that urge. Which one? Column total or grand total, both will work here because we have only one column, but sooner or later we may add more columns, so column total is safer. Now in one click we got this like this. Is it better? Now tell me, what is the difference between July and August? It looks like it is something like 1% something. That is wrong. That is the commonest mistake made by humanity while interpreting information across all fields, not just medicine. Remember what just happened. We said this is 100 and this is the contribution of each month totaling to 100. Is that clear? Now I can say April is contributing 8% and July is contributing 10%. That is correct. But if I say April and August, the difference between the two is 2%, that is wrong. Are you understanding the concept? This is absolutely wrong. When you are having percentage of total, you should always do comparison of the grand total versus each of them, not within each other. That's called a point comparison. Point comparison should never be done in a global percentage. So now if I really want to know the percentage difference between July and everyone else, or July and May, July and April, like that, there is another option. So to just clarify this, I'm going to put this again. Now notice what happened here. The value which we were comparing is actually this. This is looking 10, this is looking 9, correct? But if you look at the difference, this is almost 2000 something difference. Is it looking like 1% difference? No. So now if I want to compare this value with this value, I'll have to do a subtraction and then convert that subtraction to a percentage. That is the correct way, but that means additional effort. So instead of doing that, you right click, go to show values as, and then say percent difference from. Now why am I doing this percentage with August? Because maybe August is the most prevalent month and I want to compare that month with everything else. So when I say percent difference from, notice what happens. August becomes empty. And now August to July is not 1% but 12%. Are you getting the concept? So this is how you do comparison between items. So you can choose any item and say show me percentage difference from that item. This is another way of looking at the same data, but this is going to give you a different kind of useful information. What am I trying to tell you right now? I don't have time to show you the benefit of each of them, but I am trying to tell you that when you get data, you should try each of these options and look at the same data. That is going to give you additional information. That is not mutually exclusive. Every kind of analysis here means more information. More information means better understanding. Better understanding means whatever is the objective of your analysis, that will be better. Whether it's a research paper, whether you're planning something based on that, whether you're just studying. Either way, more you know, better you will react to it. So all these are important. Don't say column percent total, my job is done. No, all of them are important. Learn them and apply them to every piece of data you get. You will get humongous amount of extra knowledge. Today nobody is looking at that knowledge. What does that mean? Data is there, potentially knowledge is hidden behind it, nobody is extracting it, so it is getting wasted. It's loss of opportunity. So just looking at existing data itself will make life better for everyone. Okay, now let's look at something else, which is interpreting data more effectively. Assuming you have summarized it, never mind what this data is, just look at the pattern. So let's say this was disease 1, 2, 3, 4. Now across 5 months I am seeing the data. If I want to interpret it better, I can read those numbers and try to form a mental picture. That's one way. Another option is what? To draw a chart. Now if I draw a chart, it looks like this. Is this useful? Is it going to help me interpret, or it is going to confuse me? So what is the practical use of confusing charts? Of course it has a use. Very, very good use.
When you don't want to show them.
Exactly. When you don't want to get into trouble, but you still have to present, create a confusing chart, make many slides. 7 slides should be chart. 8 slides should be action plan. Now show the 7th slide like this for 5 seconds and just say, I'm sure this is self-explanatory. And then just move to the next slide. Because you said self-explanatory, nobody can ask question, because whoever asks question sounds so stupid. So that is how you use PowerPoint to your advantage. PowerPoint is not a technology, it is psychology to make people do what you want, provided they are awake. So when you are presenting, there are two objectives. One is to keep the audience awake, and second is to manipulate their mind to get what you want. That is the purpose of PowerPoint, putting forward your point with power. And we never do it that way. So anyway, if I want to interpret it myself, obviously this is not good. Now, let's look at what I am trying to interpret. Now, if I just look at this is 76. Now it has become 22. This is a very small number. There is another small number here. So I'm just comparing them. It's difficult to compare visually because our brain is a pattern matching thing. It looks at the width first and then reads it. All the widths are same. So on the first step of interpretation, it looks like everything is same. We have to take extra effort to read pairs and then decipher who is bigger or smaller. That is extra mental effort. Can we minimize it? Yes, we can by using a feature of Excel. So I select this and then go to what is called as conditional formatting. This one. How many use it? Okay. So go and say data bars and put something called data bar. Now look at the data. Data has not changed, but the speed with which you will interpret it is much better now, because you are no longer reading the numbers, you are looking at the width of the bar and forming pictures in your mind and interpreting it. And even if you had read all the numbers carefully, you may have missed some visual pattern which is now obvious. So it's not just it is going to give you the same information faster, it may give you additional information which is only possible to derive in this format, not in the older one. So it's still beneficial to you. So this is one way of doing it. Now how does it decide who gets what? Minimum, maximum. Now if I change the boundary, right now 98 is maximum. If I make another guy 150 or 200, what should happen? The 200 one should get the widest bar. That will happen. And what about the others? All others should adjust to that new range. So that is what happens automatically. So this is live, dynamic interpretation. And if there is a negative number, it will show it nicely on the other side, which also highlights the negatives very nicely. So first step, get data. Second step, summarize it. Third step, visualize it so that you can interpret better. So this is one way of interpretation. This is good for ad hoc comparison from anything to anything. Sometimes we want to classify data. Classify in the sense high, medium, low. So let's say this was incidence of some disease. This is high, this is low, this is medium. I want to see it. How do I do that? Select the data, conditional formatting, and then there are beautiful icons given. So I am choosing these icons. Now notice what it did. Same data, but it is classified into 3 categories: high, medium, low. Data is same, but I am going to get different information from it now. How did it decide who gets green, who gets yellow, who gets red? I didn't say anything. Excel figured it out. How did it do it? So let's find out. When I go to this manage rules, notice what it has done. It has taken, what has it done? It has taken the whole data, looked at the range. What is the range? 13 to 98. And it divides that range into 3 pieces. 33%, 67 and 100. That's how it decided who gets what. So if I now go to that rule, we will see what it is trying to tell me. See this? 0 to 33 gets red, 33 to 67 gets yellow, and 67 and above percentage gets. Now if you want, of course you can change those numbers. Not only percentage, if you have a specific cutoff point, instead of percentage you can actually put an explicit number also. That's up to you. Or you can put a formula, or you can even do percentile based calculations here. So all options available. So this is another way of interpreting data. Now both these methods are still not giving us something. Now if my data is big like this, what do? This is too much of data. Now if I put a data bar, what will happen? There will be too many data bars. It doesn't mean anything to me. Now what do? This is useless. We'll try the other guy. Icon sets. This is also too crowded, means nothing to me. So that's why there is a third option available called color scale. Now this guy is very intelligent, so let me show you how it works. So color scale allows you to choose 2 colors. So let's do that. I'm going to choose 2 colors, but I'm going to change the colors. Can you see that? Yeah. So now notice what it did. 1 is my minimum, it gave pure yellow color to it. 100 is my maximum, it gave pure green color to it. And all the intermediate numbers, it is giving it a proportionate mixture of the boundary colors. So nearer you are to 1, more yellow and less green, and vice versa. So now we have lots of shades of green, and the shade tells you the distribution of values. So this is a completely different way of interpreting data. But now I have zoomed in, so I can't see the overall picture because my data is big. Now when I zoom out, notice what will happen. I get a bird's eye view, and now I can see clustering. There is a low cluster here, there is a high cluster here. I am not bothered about reading numbers now, I am looking at the overall pattern. This doesn't require any formulas, no statistical analysis, it's just visual. And now in this area, which is a high value area, if I have a small number, it will stand out as an exception because it's a dramatically different color. And if there was an outlier, let's say my total range is 1 to 100, now I suddenly put 450, what will happen? 450 will get green, and all others are going to be on this side, so most of them will become yellowish green and only one green, so outliers are also seen clearly. Make sense? So bottom line, when you get data, try all the options under conditional formatting with the same data. Each one of them will give you additional useful information. Now one information this guy is still not giving us. What is that? This is 76, then it dropped, then it doubled, then it is plateaued. This fluctuation across time I am still not able to get. I can get that using the chart, but this guy is confusing. So what is the way out? So there is a beautiful new type of chart available now, which is called mini chart. So I select this empty data now, and then I go to insert, and then I say a special type of line chart called spark line. Now this is where the chart will be drawn. Now it is asking me where is the data. So I select this data, and now notice how the charts are drawn. What happened now? I can see the pattern without getting confused. In the normal chart, what was happening, all those 4 lines were on top of each other, so it was confusing me. Now not only can I see the patterns clearly, this has one more benefit. Notice that these numbers were similar numbers in the range of 1 to 100. If I have multi-scale data, for example, this particular disease was very common and this had very low prevalence, the numbers themselves are so different. Now if I draw anything, this guy is going to hog the y-axis. Now if I put one more y-axis for hundreds, one for thousands, what is going to happen to tens and below 100? I don't get 4 y-axis, I get only 2 y-axis. So in these cases also spark lines work beautifully. So I am doing the same thing, insert and spark line and the same data, and we click OK. See this? Now this line which has numbers below 10 is being drawn here. This line which has thousands is being drawn here. They don't interfere with each other at all. So I can still see the fluctuation without getting confused. Are you getting the idea? If I had drawn this normally as a chart, what would have happened? It would have been like this. This 10 wala line is flat because the scale is in thousands. So that problem gets solved if you use spark line. Now not only this gets, yes, yeah.
Can we take this charts now?
Yes, copy paste as picture.
As picture.
Yeah. So now notice what happens. I may also want to know when was the highest incident, when was the lowest incident. Now I can decipher it here, but it's not perfect. For example, the highest one in this row, if you really look at it, is 7. Now here if I put 6.9, both those will look same. Visually they look same. So I want to identify the 7 clearly. So what do? This guy is called spark line. So it gets its own menu. And in that we can define specific colors for the high value and specific color for the lowest value. And now the same data looks much better. Notice it's not showing 2 peaks because that was 6.9 and lowest was there. Now what was the lowest? Let's find out. Lowest was 2. Now I am making this lowest value -6. Obviously it will continue to show green because it is still low. But what is it not showing now? The fact that it is negative is equally important. But now I cannot see the negativity unless I scroll and see the actual number. I want to visually see the negativity. So what do? I go to Sparkline Tools and ask it to draw an axis. Just show axis. Now only where there is a negative value it will show axis. That axis represents 0. So visually you understand not only is that value lowest, but it is also negative. So small little things, but they have a tremendous impact on the way you interpret and present data. So now if I want to show prevalence of this disease in the Word paper which I am publishing, what will I do? I will copy this. I will describe whatever I want to describe, and here in my document I will go and paste it. Now what happened? Nothing is seen, but now we are not worried. We are going to click on this and say paste as picture. So now this is how I can use that inside my documents and make it more readable. And same thing happens in PowerPoint. Useful? Are you getting mentally tired of learning? Because in a unit period of time you have never learned so much in life, so there must be some inherent resistance which builds over time. Yes sir, question?
Track changes in the Excel.
Track changes is very much there in Excel, yes. You want to show how? Okay, sure. So what happens in Excel? You create a file, you want to send it to someone else and you want to know what they have changed. That is when you do track changes. So let me keep this file. And I'm going to say save this file as something else just for demo purpose. Now when you want track changes, we have to go to this particular menu called review, and then what do you have to do? Say track changes. Let me start a new file, so that's better. I'm just going to put some random data on the file. Don't worry how I'm doing it. Okay, so I have this data. I'm sending it to someone. I need to see track changes. So now when I go to review, I can go directly to track changes. Now when you say highlight changes, you say track changes while editing, and this also shares the workbook. Okay? So I will do this. It will force me to save this file, and now whatever changes I do are visible. So notice what I'm doing now. I'm just going to zoom in. Remember this number, what is it? 347. I am making it 123. What happened? A blue border came around it. If I go there, it will tell me who changed it, when, to what.
It's not like in the Word file you do that you can see what has been deleted and what has been.
Yeah, so right now it is like that, no?
Go to that
You have to go to that cell.
box and then
Only, yeah.
It's not possible like the Word file.
Because Word is a document, no? This is a grid. So in the grid there is no place to show. That's why you have to do it in a tooltip. Now I'll also delete something. Let's do this. Now suppose I delete this. What am I doing? Any change I make, it is showing in blue. Now this was not deletion, this was change. Now if I delete the column itself, there is no place to show the column was deleted. So notice what happens. Sorry, I did insert. Now when I delete the column, now notice there is a blue line which comes there, and that line will tell us this. But wait, now this was 1, 2, 3. Now I am changing it to 4, 4, 4, 4. Now if I see this, which one will it show me? I have changed it twice. So now it shows me only the last change. Now if multiple people were doing this, the bottom line is whenever you save, the changes are tracked. So now I have tracked this change. Now I am making it 5555. I am saving it again. Then I am making it 6666. I am saving it again. Now what should I see? Here I still see the last one, but because I have saved intermittently, the entire audit trail is stored. Now I want to see that audit trail. In a cell tooltip, it shows only the last transition, not the entire path from original to all the changes. So what do? So I go to review again, I go to track changes again, and this time this button is on, which was not on earlier. So now when I do this, notice what happens. It adds a new sheet called history, and in that all the changes are shown. This is like an audit trail of exactly who changed what. So this is called track changes. Similarly, of course, Word also has track changes. Do you use that? Do you know it is dangerous? Do you know how dangerous track changes is? No? Okay. So let's take a simple example. You have asked for some quotation, vendor has given you some quotation. You call them for negotiation, some things have to be changed. Then you send the original document back to them with track changes on and say make changes. Fine? That's the situation. Now I am the vendor who is making changes. You have already said track changes. So now I am the other party making changes. Now what are the chances that other party will cheat you? That is the danger of track changes. Now you don't want them to do any change which you don't see. That's why we have enabled track changes. So you think you are safe, but you are absolutely not safe. So let's say we said no advance. Okay, it is deleted, seen. Then the person is going ahead and making some other changes. So I'm just going to make some changes. So whatever. The machine should be on 99.9% of time. We don't want remote support, we want local support. Like that the person is changing. Now if that person or other party wants to cheat you, what will they do? Can you tell me? You can just switch off track changes and say support क्यों देने का है 3 years के लिए. This is not tracked. Now I enable track changes, control home and send the file to you. When you get the file, you are going to go to the beginning and say show me the next change. What is the next change? This one. So you will say accept, go to the next one, accept, accept, accept. And that change from 3 years to 3 days is not seen at all, so there is nothing to accept. And then you will print this and this is signed as a legal contract and you are stuck. That is the problem with track changes. So is it a good feeling or a bad feeling you have now?
Very bad.
Very bad. So don't you think Microsoft must have noticed this problem and solved it long back?
Yes, yes.
Obviously. So how do we solve it? Now you have to add, I am not going to do spoon feeding, you have to find the answer. The answer is somewhere here. What do we want really? We want the ability to activate track changes and
not to deactivate.
Other party should not deactivate. That is what we want. That means whatever the other party does should have some restrictions on them. So that's why there is a button called restrict editing here. And in that there are various types of changes possible to be restricted. By default it is read only, but that doesn't help because they have to make changes. So open this drop down and say track changes and then say start enforcing protection and then put a password. This is a demo. That's why I'm putting 1 character password, 18 characters minimum. And then send the file to them. Close this and send it. Now what happens? Everything is tracked. And the track changes button cannot be deactivated because it's not available at all. Even if the other person is a programmer, they can't change it. Because even programming wise, if you go, it will ask you a password. Now does this make it foolproof?
But if you know the password, then you can change it.
But we don't give the password to other party. But wait, now are we better? Is this method foolproof?
No.
Why not?
Password can be leaked. Password can be leaked.
No, that's why I said 18 character password. 2 character password any child can break now. So notice the other party can also be smart. They can select the whole document, copy it, paste it into another document, put their own password and send it. They can still cheat you. So the story is not yet complete. We sent it with the password, that's only step 1. When you receive it back, you have to do additional checking. When you get it back, you have to go there again, say stop protection and check whether your password is working. If your password doesn't work, that means the file is tampered with. Reject the file. So that completes the story. Now unfortunately, you saw how many steps were involved in making this happen. Correct? What is the chance that the world is going to notice all this? 0. That's why nobody noticed it. Track changes is here. Then you go to restrict editing, open this, drop down, track changes, stop protection, password, 9 steps involved. 0 chance of the world noticing it. So Microsoft said, let me give the world another chance. So they simplified it in the new version. 2013, they made it very simple. How do you think they made it simple? You see track changes, you activate it from here. What do you see here? And one click now. It directly asks you the password. End of story. So 9 steps reduced to 1 step now. Is it good? Is the world going to notice it? No, absolutely not. Nobody drops drop downs, you know that. So all the effort Microsoft is making to make the world a better place is going completely wasted. So if small disease spread, what is it called? Endemic, right? It spreads, it's called epidemic. If it spreads across geographical boundaries, it is called? Is that the correct word? Pan means all. When you say pandemic, does every living human being have the disease? No. It has spread geographically and it is spreading, and few million out of 7 billion have the disease. Correct? That is the real description of pandemic. Fair enough? If everyone has a disease, what is it called? We don't have a word for it. Omnidemic, let's call it omnidemic. Something like that. So what is the omnidemic we are noticing now? Office inefficiency. If everyone has a disease, it is called normal. You understand the problem in the world? Every person spends 2 to 3 hours every day using Office. They have no clue how pathetically inefficient they are. That is the biggest health hazard. Because of that, people spend extra time. Because of that, there is stress, there is a work-life balance, and all the other medical problems come from there. So using Office properly is the simplest preventive thing you can do to the world. Are you getting it? Okay, so we have 10 minutes. Let me show you something in PowerPoint. Unless you have some questions. Question? Yes.
For the scientific community, like you have in-court, reference, can't the word put those sort of like when you're writing the infant mortality rate, all the references to
There is something called research, but it is not geared for medical, but you can make use of it. For example, there is a research pane. I don't know if you have done this. So let me try it and see what happens. I don't have internet, so I can't show you. Now, if you press something like this, if you press Shift F7, what happens? It gives you a thesaurus. Did you know that? Shift F7 on any word will give you a thesaurus. This itself will help you improve your vocabulary and write better quality documents. But that's language wise. There is something else called research pane. So if you go to references and then, references, review. Okay, there is something called research pane. And that research pane allows you to see, this is called definition or research pane, and this opens something here, and this can give you lots of references. By default only dictionaries are added there, but encyclopedias and medical publications can potentially be added there. So try that out. I don't have a connection. No, I don't know of a direct. There may be an add-in from PubMed which does that, but Microsoft has not done anything. It will have to be a third-party tool. Any other question?
What about formulas for Excel?
Do
Yes.
we need to do every formula? Most of the time the requirement is looking for p-values.
Yeah. But that is anyway happening through your statistics product, so it's okay. There are equivalent ways of doing it in Excel also, but if you're already comfortable with something, there is no compelling need to come to Excel. But the kind of visualization and analytics which I showed in Excel is something which you can benefit from over and above what you are doing. So that's what you should focus on.
People would like to know that how you have done this global.
Yes, that requires internet connection, unfortunately. But I'll show you the steps anyway. What you do is, let's say I have some data here which has location in it. So I go, and this is an add-in, extra add-in you have to install called Power Map. Power Map. This gets installed on 2013 only. And once I click on it, it automatically picks up the locational data and shows it to you on a 3D globe and plots it. So I cannot show it because this requires an internet connection. There is one map here, maybe I can open this and show you. It is already created. So notice what it is showing me now. This is data for Bombay. What is the data? I have different location and multiple patients coming from each location. So what have I done here? Dadar, Kolaba, Matunga, whatever are the locations, I have listed. And then I have created a map. Now in the map, notice what it has done. This is a 3D map, by the way. There is a beautiful 3D map which is interactive. So notice what it has done. This is my data. Right now I'm going to just turn it around so you can see whole India. You can zoom in, zoom out, rotate the globe, do whatever you like. Now in the first step, what do? In the first step, you say where is the location. So I'm just going to do that. So I've picked up the location column. If it understands the location, it will plot it automatically. So let me just do that. Right now I'm going to remove the thing. Let me go to step 1. Step 1, we choose the location. Okay. So now notice what it has done. It has plotted the locations right now. So this is only Bombay data, so it has plotted different places in Bombay. Nothing has been, no data has been plotted. It's just the location which has been plotted. So now this was name of a place. So how does it understand? What can it understand in terms of location? So all this, zip code, street, state, county we don't have, country, region, city, or even latitude, longitude if you have the GPS data. So all this it will understand. So right now step 1, it has just plotted the locations. Now in the next step, I have to tell him what to plot as a data. So right now I don't have a numeric column there. So I'm going to just say plot population. I actually have population. So now it is going to plot population. Now notice what it did. It has plotted the population as a 3D bar chart on top of it. I can see it, but it's useless. It looks nice, but practically useless. Why? Because how are we looking at it? From top. So the height cannot be seen properly. So now you can turn it around like this. Then you can see it better. You can zoom in to get a better picture. You can move, you can rotate, do whatever you like. Done? Now I want to break it down by something else, let's say. What do I want to do? Do I have some data which I can use? Okay. Ward. I'll take ward. So I'll put ward there on top of it. So notice what happens. It will get color coded. So each ward has now become color coded. So let me see if I can show you the wards. So notice in Bombay these are the type of wards. So each ward got color. Now some location happens to be in 2 wards, so it has a stacked bar chart there. So I can have a stacked bar chart visualization, I can have a side by side or stacked or a pie chart, all kinds of things I can do, or I can have a heat map also. And now just to make this animated, I'm going to keep it as a bar chart to start with, and I'm explaining my, let's say, some new initiative for something which I'm doing, some screening I want to do. So I want to start with this location. So this is my first step. Then in the next step, like a next slide, I add what is called as a new scene. Instead of new slide, we say new scene. So first scene we went to the southern tip of Bombay. Then in the second step, I'm going to go to the northern tip of Bombay here. And then I'm going to show this like this. Alright. Now in the third step, I'm going to go to another location in Bombay. I'm going to rotate it the other way. Like this, what am I doing? I am creating a slideshow in a 3D visualized manner. And the last step, I will show entire Bombay. So fourth step, I show like this and find the most optimal zoom level and rotation and pitch level for showing entire Bombay. So I have done all this now. Now for each of the so-called slides, I can actually have various options, like I can put some transition effects, special effects and so on, which I'm going to do quickly for all of them. I'm just changing the effect. And now all this can be shown as a single animation. I can change the speed, I can change the transition. After I have created the whole thing, I say play, like we play. Now notice this is happening in Excel. So now it is showing me that location, slide number 1. Then it will smoothly move to the next slide and show that, and this will go on and on like a created visualizing data. And what was the last step? Showing entire Bombay. It will show that. And all this, the other person doesn't have Excel. All this, yes. Sorry? Technically speaking, yes, but what happens is the numbers are shown on tooltips because this is an interactive thing. If you add numbers, it becomes too crowded. Like a normal chart, you put data labels, it becomes crowded. So it is only on demand that you look at the numbers. But yes, like in weather charts, you see a key number being shown, that kind of data cards can be put. So having done all this, how do you share it with people? I just click one button called create video, and now Excel will create a nice HD video with all this. If you really want, you can put a soundtrack also. So that is how you do it in Excel. And those, you already have some copies of Office 365 which has all the features which I have talked to you about. Alright, so I guess more questions or finish? Finish?
Some tips about 365.
365 actually is just a collection of products. It is not a product by itself. It is a collection of products. I will show you what it contains. Have we given feedback forms to everyone? Just fill them up while we are talking. So 365 is designed not just for creating documents. It is also designed for working together in a better way in a team and working faster. So for each of these there is a product. All put together is called Office 365. So creating things is done in Office, sharing them is using OneDrive and email, and then fast work is done using Link and YAML. These are two different tools. This is for social, this is for chat. And presentations can also be done using Link. Remote teaching can also be done by using Link. So these put together is called Office 365. So all these products you already have. So to summarize, what are we really saying? When you look at all the options, our natural thought process is to ignore it. I am asking you to change it and go and explore it. When you explore it, I have shown you how easy it is to learn. You don't need to say, I'll take out half an hour every day to learn. You do it while you are working. You audit yourself, find inefficiency, find a better way. It goes on. And it gives you immediate benefits. Because once you learn something, you are smart enough to use it correctly. And of course, you will share it with others. And in the process, everyone grows faster. So whoever you are, you will grow faster using Office. It's a catalyst. So I don't have time to show you all the things, but I write a blog every day. I have 568 articles already on the blog. It's called efficiency365.com. Why is it called 365? Because I write one article every day, including Saturday, Sundays and holidays. Already 568 articles, and of course today, tomorrow's will keep coming. So go there, read what is there, subscribe to it by mail, follow my Twitter feed, and every day if you learn one new thing, obviously there is no choice, you will become super efficient. So that's all we have time for. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nitin, for your fantastic speech. And I think it was an informative session for everyone. The feedback form is given. Please fill that feedback form and give it to the counter. And some refreshments are outside.
Hello, Dr. Pranj.
Yes.
How can we get a presentation from you?
Good question. Give me a USB drive, I'll give it to you.